Welcome in on this Thursday, Friday Eve, here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Carlene Bragg is here in studio with me. We want to get to the latest when it comes to Silfab Solar. So I want to read you the headline right now on our website. South Carolina officials issue total stop for Silfab Solar after second chemical spill this week. And again, this is on our website, also on our app. The South Carolina Department of Environmental Services issued a total stop at Silfab Solar in Fort Mill, South Carolina, today after a second incident involving chemicals at the York County manufacturing plant. Now, WCNC Charlotte received multiple tips from parents that they were turned away from dropping off their kids at Flint Hill Elementary School because of a, quote, active incident at Silfab. The Fort Mill School District confirmed the school was closed out of an abundance of caution. Silfab Solar sits, Carlene and I were just talking about this, it sits just a few hundred yards away from the Flint Hill campus. This is an aerial shot of that plant, and you could see, again, just a few hundred yards away.
I'll pause it right there. You can see, I mean, it's right
there.
The plant's on the right, the field is on the left. It's like a strip of woods that separates it.
Couldn't be more clear,
right.
There on the screen. And so it's separated by this tree line at the property edge there. So you see that there. That is a good shot of just how close the school and the plant are. Now, York County Emergency Management said it was aware of an issue with hydrofluoric acid, and crews were sent to the plant to monitor the situation. And look, this comes just a couple of days after potassium hydroxide spilled at the facility. South Carolina environmental officials temporarily halted operations at the plant. The investigation to investigate that incident, the agency said the leak is within the design containment and does not pose a health risk to the public. Now, Environmental Services directed Silfab again to immediately cease all operations pending the results of a full investigation by the state and federal officials. The agency also ordered Silfab to confirm there are no other leaks at the plant, retain a qualified engineer, and notify the department as soon as possible of any further release of any chemical from any piping or tank system there at the plant. Now, State Senator Michael Johnson, who represents York County, called the announcement, quote, a major step forward. The Department of Environmental Services has issued a total stop order again for, this is what he wrote, the Department of Environmental Services has issued a total stop order for Silfab. Johnson posted on social media, quote, I have met with representatives of the Attorney General's office and DES all morning. This is a major step forward and will cease all operations. Again, that is coming from State Senator Michael Johnson, who represents York County.
It also looks like we just got a statement from the county itself. I'm going to send it to you, but I can read at least, one of the sentences. York County wholeheartedly endorses and applauds the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services decision to suspend operations at Silfab Solar. We welcome a thorough third-party review required by the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services of the safety of Silfab's facilities and staff prior to any discussion of the resumption of operations. So that's just a snippet.
That's just a snippet. That's a good,
right.
Just, again, we just got this in, and we continue to get more information about this, again, second spill, legal. And just to be perfectly honest, we talked about this in our newsroom, the semantics of leak, spill.
Right.
So we hope to get some clarification on that
Agreed.
End of things. But again, this is playing out at Silfab. There have been a lot of concerns from parents, from community members there in Fort Mill.
We've covered it for years.
Yeah, I was about to say years.
Months and months and months.
Months and months and months. Folks have, rang the alarm bells. So again, that is from their perspective. Again, we've heard from local leaders, and our Anna King. We hope to get Anna. I know she is running around Fort Mill as things continue to evolve with this situation. So we hope to get her soon. And we are reaching out to folks, again, to get you some more clarity on what is happening there in Fort Mill as of this moment. Again, this is a drone shot, a bird's eye view of the Silfab solar plant there in Fort Mill. Again, ordered to stop operations.
I also want to, because some people, anyway, we've been talking about it, it's been in the news for a while, people might not know exactly where this facility is. So I have pulled up on the map. It's right near Gold Hill Road and 21 Bypass. So Gold Hill Road is one of like the biggies in Fort Mill. It's like one of the main thoroughfares. You got, when if you're getting off on 77, you're getting off on Gold Hill, or you're getting off on Highway 160. So it's a busy
area. Okay.
It's a busy area.
That makes it. I learned something just now. Right. I'm not too familiar with Fort Mill, but yeah, I know Carlene. Yeah, this is more of your wheelhouse here. But as folks have pointed out, I'm looking at the map. I see Fort Mill Elementary School. We have different schools in the area. Also see a child care center. Apartments, a neighborhood that's not too far from it. So like, so fast forward, you can see in the video we showed you, it's like, near woods, but it's not far from hustle and bustle in Fort Mill. Yeah. So again, we will continue to update you on the story as more information obviously comes along. Again, a lot of eyes on this story, and we will bring those updates to you here, not only on Live Impact News, WCNC Plus, but also on our website, WCNC.com, on our app. Also, just stick with us here on WCNC Charlotte as well for the latest updates. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. All right, so our top story for the day: South Carolina officials issue a total stop for Silfab Solar after a second chemical spill this week. Again, this is the second chemical spill this week. So when the first spill happened, we were able to speak with Dr. Susan Richardson. She is a professor in the Department of Chemistry, Environmental at University of South Carolina. Gave us context after that first spill happened. She spoke with Megan Bragg here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Let's take a listen in to what Dr. Richardson, what Susan Richardson had to say. I added doctor, but Susan Richardson had to say. Let's take a listen in.
03, you're thinking, wow, that's not allowed. But I mean, it just depends on what the compound is, right? So they said that it was retained and they are cleaning it up. Does the community have any issue? They said there was no impact to the community, but is there anything that they should be doing to keep themselves safe? Is there anything airborne that can happen with this stuff, or just seeping into, the ground itself? Can that be harmful?
Sometimes you can get aerosols coming off of those things. and whether it's a strong acid or strong base. So I would not want to be walking around anywhere near that spill. There could be some fumes that come off of it. I hope that they are neutralizing it. You can neutralize it with different chemicals, and you can neutralize a base with an acid or other kinds of things. And I hope that's what they're doing, so that it's neutralized, it's not getting airborne or, leaking into nearby waterways.
What do we usually see this compound in? Is it in anything that we use everyday products for?
Oh, goodness. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I can think of a number of things that acid might be in, but, base, maybe some deep cleaning chemicals. So let me just say, KOH is not, but I'm thinking of another base is ammonia. Ammonia is another base. And if it were in high enough concentrations, it would behave very similarly to potassium hydroxide. So you think about concentrated ammonia. If you had really ultra concentrated ammonia for cleaning, that potassium hydroxide would be a little bit similar to that.
Okay, awesome. And does it take a while to clean this up, or what does that cleaning process look like, would you say?
If they're neutralizing it with an acid or something else, that can just take seconds to minutes, depending on, the volume. It did sound like a huge volume, but it's relatively quick to, as soon as that's mixed in equal amounts, then it can become pH 7 and be fine.
Is there anything that, maybe people living nearby or really close to that area? I know that there was a school like a mile away. Is there something that they should be looking for in case they do start feeling bad or anything? What are some of the signs, symptoms that they need to watch out for?
Yeah, I would say, if there's any danger of that stuff getting aerosolized or transferred, you would probably, your eyes would be burning, your throat would be burning probably. If you smell something off and you feel like something's not right, breathing, I would stay away from that area. But like I said, it could be that they've already got it completely neutralized, because it is, once you get it neutralized, it's pretty fast in controlling it, but I wouldn't want to be walking anywhere near that place until it is neutralized.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much, Professor Richardson, for answering these questions for us. I know a lot of people had a lot of questions about this, so we really, really appreciate you.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. Our big story of today, the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services issued a total stop at Silfab Solar in Fort Mill today after a second incident involving chemicals at the York County manufacturing plant. Our Anna King is there in Fort Mill getting answers, working on that story for us today. That is a look at the Silfab Solar plant right there on your screen there. And we showed you earlier just how close it is to the school. I know Carlene is kind of going through the clips, but you can see it right there, that tree line dividing the school and the plant. So we have a lot of questions, and so Megan Bragg is here in studio to answer, at least try to answer some of these questions.
I know.
So much information is coming into our newsroom.
Yeah, there's a lot of information coming in. You know, the main thing that I was looking at today, because so many people are like, why is York County not shutting him down right after this happened?
Right.
What is the county allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? And there's actually a lot of things that the county can do to stop factories from, or companies from continuing, but environmental issues is not one of them. So we went to South Carolina law to look at the laws and what counties can do. So in South Carolina, counties are allowed to maybe shut factories or businesses down for zoning laws that have been, not followed, and they also can shut them down if the property is deemed unsafe. It's like dilapidated or something like that,
right.
And it's not safe for the public. So they can order them to evacuate and to shut down. They can't allow them to be permanently shut down, but they can take certain steps to stop production or whatever they need to. Now, when it comes to environmental, like air pollution, water pollution, that is up to the Department of Environmental Protection of South Carolina.
Okay.
So that's under their realm. They're the only ones that would be allowed to do something like this. Looks like they have sent a letter out saying a cease and desist to stop, but they can't just totally shut them down.
Yeah.
That would have to go, through court systems, and the company obviously has a chance to, make their case of what's going on. So it's not an automatic stop, shut down. There's a lot of red tape that needs to be cut through, right? And so the county, even though they can stop certain things, they can't stop everything. So people might be frustrated with the county, right? Yeah. But they can only do so much, and then it's up to the state to do something about it.
And federal investigators are involved in this case now. So, a lot of questions. We get that. When stuff like this happens, obviously the question is, well, why isn't the county doing something?
Right.
Why isn't the state doing something? So,
right.
and
it is important for people to take a step back and remember there's a lot of laws out there. There's a lot of red tape, right? And counties, cities, municipalities can only do so much until the state has to do something about it. So, I know a lot of folks out there are frustrated, and I get it, right? The school is just a few 100 yards away from there. I'm sure parents have a lot to say about this for their safety of their kids, but like I said, the county can only do so much.
Megan Bragg, a lot to sort through here as this breaking news and more information comes from what happened there, second incident this week at Silfab. When can folks catch your story?
They can catch it at 5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock. All right. You don't want to miss it. A lot of answers there. Let's take a break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. We want to head now to Wilmington, North Carolina, where just moments ago, Governor Josh Stein visited a water plant there, Brunswick County DMV location as well. He spoke. In case you missed it, let's take a listen in.
And thank you for joining us here today. Wes Corder, Chairman of the Board at CFPUA. We're honored to welcome Governor Stein, Secretary Wilson, and their teams to the Sweeney Water Treatment Plant today. North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality is helping fund projects that will not only benefit CFPUA's current customers, but will help us connect more people in New Hanover County to clean, clearly better CFPUA water. You'll hear more about these projects in a moment, but on behalf of CFPUA's customers, I just want to thank Secretary Wilson and Governor Stein for everything they are doing for our region and for making the trip to Wilmington today. With that, I'll hand it off to our County Vice Chairman, Dane Scalise.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you and welcome, everyone. I want to thank CFPUA for hosting us today. As a member of the CFPUA board, I see firsthand the work this team does to deliver safe drinking water to our community, and I'm proud of what they've built here at Sweeney. Clean drinking water is among the most fundamental services that government provides. The wells being connected through this funding are in our county, in our neighborhoods where families have been living with contamination they didn't cause and can't fix on their own. Getting them connected to safe water has been a priority for this board, and today we're one step closer. New Hanover County, the City of Wilmington, and CFPUA have been working closely together for years to identify the communities most in need and do the engineering work so that when state funding becomes available, we're ready to move. That preparation is paying off today. We appreciate the state's investment in our community. Governor Stein, thank you and welcome back to New Hanover County. Please, everyone, Governor Stein.
Dane, thank you so much for that nice introduction and warm welcome and for being here today and your service on this board. Wes, thank you for your leadership of the board. I'm pleased to be joined by North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Secretary Reed Wilson. Is Representative Butler here today? She was trying to make it. She didn't quite make it. Okay. And a number of local officials. Rob, good to see you. We just had a very informative tour here of Sweeney, learning about how this state-of-the-art facility is treating the region's drinking water and removing dangerous pollutants. I applaud the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority for investing in filtration technology to filter out dangerous forever chemicals like PFAS. To support that work, I'm here to share some really positive news from the state of North Carolina. The state has recently awarded the CFPUA nearly $35 million in water infrastructure investments. Y'all heard me. I don't have to say $35 million again.
We'll clap again, though. That's wonderful news.
$35 million. First, through the EPA's Emerging Contaminants Program, we're awarding $17 million to remove forever chemicals like PFAS from more people's drinking water who live right here in New Hanover County. The money will enable the connection of more than 300 homes that are currently on well water to join the CFPUA system. That means that they're going to get water that is treated here to remove PFAS from the drinking water. And we announced just recently a grant of nearly $18 million to the CFPUA to expand the capacity of the Southside wastewater treatment plant. Since 2023, the Department of Environmental Quality has awarded Southside location alone nearly $200 million to help with that construction. The funding is, of course, sorely needed to support the burgeoning population growth in this region and to ensure that the streams and waters run clean after wastewater is treated at Southside. Ensuring that our water is clean and safe has been a priority of mine since even before I was Attorney General. But as Attorney General, I took DuPont and Chemours to court for discharging PFAS and other forever chemicals to pollute the Cape Fear River. I've sued PFAS manufacturers across the state for polluting various locations in North Carolina. I'm proud to continue this work as governor. My administration is committed to building a water infrastructure across North Carolina that ensures drinking water is clean, that it's resilient in the face of extreme weather, and that it's capable of supporting more population growth and economic development. Over the past year, we've taken some meaningful steps to strengthen the state's water infrastructure. We have advanced more than $1.4 billion in water infrastructure projects to bolster drinking water and wastewater systems and to address PFAS and other emerging contaminants. Last week, my administration also communicated to the Army Corps of Engineers that we cannot approve its request to dredge the Cape Fear River without assurances that it would address any PFAS that is on the river bottom and that would protect the public health.
Thank you.
Of course, there is much more work to be done. We will continue to invest in expansions and upgrades in water infrastructure to protect against forever chemicals, as we are here today in Wilmington. We will push for standards that reduce PFAS pollution at the source. We will pursue federal resources aggressively, and we will hold polluters accountable. We will also continue to work with partners across government, the private sector, and local communities to ensure that every North Carolinian has access to clean drinking water. It's simple. When a family turns on their tap at home, they should be confident, they should be certain that that water is clean and safe. Amen. I want to thank New Hanover County, the City of Wilmington, Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, for their tireless work to scale up treatment operations and to tackle this problem on behalf of their people. I want them to also know that my team and I are going to be with you every step of the way as we deliver this for our people. Thank you, and it is now my pleasure to bring forward our Secretary of Department of Environmental Quality, Reed Wilson.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be with you. I want to thank Cape Fear Public Utility Authority for hosting us today at the Sweeney plant. This is my second time here, and it is an amazing thing to see how this state-of-the-art facility is cleaning up people's water to make sure it's safe. At the Department of Environmental Quality, one of our top priorities is reducing people's exposure to harmful forever chemicals, including PFAS like Gen X. These chemicals have been linked to serious health problems, cancers, reproductive issues, neurological problems, and more. And here in North Carolina, 3.5 million people currently drink tap water with PFAS levels above what the federal standards will be in just a few years. That's 1 in 3 people are drinking unhealthy water. And so those aren't just numbers. These are families, these are children, these are entire communities that deserve better. And we know that the most effective way and the fairest way to protect public health is to stop contamination at the source by setting limits on the discharges that can come into waterways. But we're not there yet. So in the interim, we need to make sure that we are providing resources to communities so that they can upgrade their infrastructure and remove PFAS and other harmful chemicals from their water supplies. So they need financial support. And so today's announcement of $17 million to connect more homes that currently have well water that does have high levels of PFAS is a real step forward. And in addition to providing clean water to those homes, they also get fire service as well, as you know, obviously the pipes are there for the fire service as well. And I want to just mention that following neighborhoods for which at least a portion of those neighborhoods will receive these new water line connections: Allendale, Arlington, Bayshore, Brentwood, Burton, Newton, Kerr, Garden Place, Hanover Gardens, Orange Street, Rock Hill, and Wrightsboro Acres. Rock Hill, located in Castle Hayne, was one of the first neighborhoods funding was approved for, and we appreciate a group of good folks from that community here today for taking the time to be with us. Thank you all for being here. I don't know which ones of you are. If you want to raise your hands, stand up. Thank you so much for being here. And as the governor just mentioned, we also awarded recently almost $18 million for the wastewater plant. Important to mention the benefits that's going to provide. That project will completely modernize the plant, replacing aging equipment with a more advanced treatment system. It will increase capacity from 12 million to 16 million gallons per day, helping the community continue to grow. It will add stronger treatment and filtration, improving water quality and environmental protection downstream. It will improve storm resilience, moving critical equipment out of the floodplain and adding reliable backup power, and ensuring long-term reliability so this system can serve families and businesses for decades to come. So, $35 million total for drinking water and wastewater today. It's not just investments in pipes, it's investments in people. Infrastructure for drinking water and wastewater is the backbone for thriving, healthy communities, supports homes, schools, businesses, hospitals, and it enables growth while protecting our streams and natural areas. Today's award reflects our commitment to safeguard.
All right, so that is a press conference from moments ago, Governor Josh Stein in Eastern North Carolina, Wilmington, then New Brunswick County. We want to head now to Washington, D.C., where House GOP leaders are holding a press conference regarding DHS funding, which has been a hot topic over the last few weeks. Let's take a listen in.
Debate policy all day long. That's part of the job. But we do not play politics with national security. We do not gamble with the safety of American people, and we do not leave our troops wondering whether we have their back. So right now, thousands of brave Americans standing watch against Iran's threats, and 6 have paid the ultimate price. To the troops supporting Operation Epic Fury, America and Republicans stand with you. We see your sacrifice, and we are praying for your safety. And when your mission is done, we will welcome you home with the gratitude in which you deserve. With that, I will turn it over to the chairman of our Intel Committee, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you. I thank our Chairwoman McLean for bringing us together.
See how fancy schmancy we are over here?
Very fancy, very fancy. I want to first acknowledge the incredible success of Operation Epic Fury. This is a testament of the leadership of the White House, the Pentagon, the State Department. This operation has been a masterclass in American military superiority. We continue to pray for our safety of our U.S. service members, and we pray for the families of those 6 that have been lost in service to this great nation. Let me say one thing that's important to note. This is not a new war. The Iranians have been at war with the United States since 1979. This is a 47-year predicate, and President Trump had the courage and the resolve to say, not anymore, not on his watch. We're going to put an end to this. And for the former military intelligence officers who've served in Central Asia or the Middle East, they know that this is not a new war. It didn't just happen out of the blue. And I would also say this has been an unprecedented level of transparency exhibited by the Trump administration. I certainly haven't seen this level of transparency in my time in Congress, or for that matter, I can't recall, even as a military veteran, the level of transparency that's been exhibited by President Trump. As Chairwoman McLean indicated, the Democrats are playing games with our national security, refusing to fund our DHS. This just can't stand. This is not the time to be playing games with funding when we have such a high threat level here. Iranian proxies remain committed to Iran's dirty work, and they're not limited to a specific geography. They'll come here and they'll exercise here. Cyber attacks could be particularly damaging here in the United States, and we should never allow a lack of imagination to be our downfall. Every single day, the DHS remains shut down. The Democrats are sending a message to the American people that they don't care about our safety. They don't care about our national security. With that, I want to recognize Representative Evans. There he is.
You like that too?
I know, I do like that. Well, thank you all so much for coming. I'm Congressman Gabe Evans, Colorado's 8th Congressional District. I was a cop for 10 years. I was a soldier for 12 years. I deployed to a combat zone in the Persian Gulf region, or the Arabian Gulf for our service members over there, in 2012 and 13 as part of the global war on terror, where I served as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot and my battalion's intelligence officer. I had a 5-month-old son when I left. He had just finished a month-long stay in the hospital. He was 18 months old when I came back. I missed every step. First steps, first words, first Christmas, first birthday. And so I want to speak directly to our deployed servicemen and women. We have your back. I've been there. You're there now. You trained for this. You are ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States. You are the guardian of freedom and the American way of life. When a nation sends its finest young men and women in harm's way, it is the obligation of that nation to support its warriors. We know the imminent threat that Iran posed. I know the imminent threat that Iran posed. We know what happens when that nation does not support its servicemen and women. I hit boots on the ground a week after Benghazi, and I will not repeat that same mistake. We have the backs of our servicemen and women. We have the backs of our federal and state and local law enforcement. I've done both jobs. The military is the outer perimeter that keeps our country safe. State, federal, local law enforcement, that is the inner perimeter that keeps us safe. They are the thin blue line. They have the watch. And so to my colleagues across the aisle who are denying our Homeland Security personnel their checks, I urge you, pass the Homeland Safety Appropriations Package so that we can pay the personnel that keep us safe on that inner perimeter here in the United States that work for our Department of Homeland Security. Our nation's security and my constituents' security depends on it. Thank you so much for coming. And now I want to introduce my good friend and colleague and a fellow veteran, Marionette Miller-Meeks.
I should lower the podium. Thank you, Representative Evans. The freedoms we cherish, the freedom to speak our minds, the freedom of the press, the freedom to vote and pursue the American dream are not guaranteed by words on paper alone. They are secured by the courage and the sacrifice of men and women who wear the uniform of the United States. And as a 24-year military veteran, married to a 30-year military veteran, the father of a veteran, and of whom 8 children in our family, 6 of them served in the military, I know that truth all too well, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Today, I want to shine a light on 2 brave Iowans who gave their lives in service to our country. Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien of Indianola and Sergeant Declan J. Cody of West Des Moines, who were among the American service members killed by Iranian strikes in Kuwait. They were sons of Iowa, soldiers who stepped forward to defend our nation and protect these freedoms that we hold so dear. And because of heroes like them, America has stood for nearly 250 years as the freedom capital of the world, a beacon of hope where liberty still shines bright. And let me also tell you what our military and our veterans want. After having seen the egregious activities of Iran continually at war with us since 1979, we've seen the Marine Corps barracks attacked. We've seen the U.S. embassies attacked. We have seen the U.S. coal attacked, and members of the military paraded and shamed. Our military members want to know that we, in fact, have their back. And that means a response from the United States, not seven presidents saying, we cannot have a nuclear-armed Iran. To our active duty military, we know you are in harm's way. We pray for you. We pray that you have all of the training and the equipment that you need, and if you don't, contact us and we will make sure that you get it. But you are defending this great country, and we, in the Republican Conference, we have your back. To the men and women serving our nation here at home and abroad, and especially those standing watch in the Middle East tonight, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your sacrifice. And know this, America stands with you, always. God bless our troops, and may God bless the United States of America. I'll now introduce Representative Nick LaLota.
Thanks. Good to be with you all. Only Trump derangement syndrome can explain why House Democrats and Senate Democrats are blocking the Department of Homeland Security funding bill. That bill, and they say it's about ICE, but it's not. That bill and ICE is already funded for years. CBP is already funded for years. But the funding that comes from that bill funds our Coast Guard, our TSA, our cybersecurity professionals. And we're here today to highlight a few different issues to ensure, one, that our colleagues from the other side of the aisle step up and meet the moment. Now, especially with conflict in the Middle East, is not the time to block funding for the Department of Homeland Security. We could be under attack by Iran. Cybersecurity issues have already risen in our borders already in the last week. It is time for Senate Democrats and House Democrats to do the right thing for the country and to fund the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill. They should reject the notion that that party has had for the last few years to reject everything that President Trump has had. He's right to support funding for the Homeland Security Department, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. I want to bring up my friend from Iowa, Air Force veteran, Representative Zach Nunn.
It's always a privilege to go after a Navy man. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, so that is a press conference from House GOP leaders talking about DHS funding, which has been a topic, a big topic for weeks now there on Capitol Hill. We want to come back here at home, and we want to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. We are following some breaking news out of Miami, Florida. This is a shot of the smoke there, the helicopter zooming out, but you see a massive plumes of smoke there. It's crews battle a massive 5-alarm fire at Northwest Miami-Dade warehouse. Crews are battling this massive 5-alarm fire at a warehouse in Northwest Miami-Dade. Today, the fire was reported around 10:45 this morning at a warehouse on Northwest 47th Avenue. So this is an aerial view of that. A lot of smoke in the air. It looks like the helicopter is pulling away, but just as the helicopter is pulling away, you can just see how much smoke is there in the air and how big this fire is. Now, Miami-Dade fire rescue officials said firefighters arrived to fight flames and heavy black smoke coming from the warehouse. And right now, crews are, again, still battling these flames there. Again, you can just see how big from the distance this fire is. Again, as more information comes in, and you can see the camera is zooming in now, so that helicopter might be circling around a bit, but you can see fire crews pouring water onto that warehouse. Can't tell if there are still visible flames there, but still a lot of smoke. A lot of smoke there.
I'm reading like there's a school close by that they've kept students in just as a precaution, of course, because of, the smoke and fumes and everything. So we don't know what was in this warehouse.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just a lot of questions so far. Still, we're still looking for more information on this, but this is Miami Gardens, Miami-Dade area there in Florida. As you see, crews are dousing potentially hot spots, potentially flames, but we do know there's a lot of smoke there, and crews have been there for at least a few hours. Almost. So we'll continue to check in there in Miami as more information comes about, as we get more images that come into our newsroom. All right, so we want to shift now to Austin, Texas, where police giving an update live. They're giving an update right now on that mass shooting that happened over the weekend that killed 3 people and injured more than a dozen others at a downtown bar. So the press conference is happening live, but we wanted to take you back to the beginning of that press conference so you don't miss anything from what Austin police had to tell us. Let's take a listen in, and let's take you now to our content partner, KVUE, as they give updates and as they toss to that press conference. Let's take a listen in.
Multiple 911 calls reporting a shooting outside of Buford's at 700 West 6th Street. APD officers, along with the Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services, arrived on the scene within 57 seconds, located multiple victims who were shot, and immediately began rendering first aid. Putting a map up now of the location. The investigation revealed that a black Cadillac SUV was traveling southbound on Rio Grande Street when it pulled alongside Buford's, and the driver of this vehicle began shooting a semi-automatic handgun into the crowd of people that were standing outside of the bar. Several individuals were struck. The vehicle then continued westbound on West 6th and parked near the intersection of West 6th Street and Wood. The suspect then exited the vehicle armed with an AR-15 rifle. The suspect fired at a pedestrian, striking them, then walked back toward the bar. As additional officers arrived, they were directed by the suspect's location by brave people that were caught in this nightmare, and they worked to move bystanders to safety and establish a secure perimeter. At 2:03, 3 officers located the suspect near the intersection of West 6th and West Avenue. The suspect discharged his firearm at the direction of the officers. The 3 officers discharged their firearms, striking him multiple times. Officers approached the suspect, took him into custody, requested medical assistance. The suspect was later pronounced deceased at the scene. Our suspect is a 53-year-old male. The Austin Police Department has had no contacts with this suspect. His only interaction with law enforcement was in 2022, and that was a check welfare in an outside agency. This call was referenced his mental health. As this investigation has progressed, APD has learned of additional victims. APD is now aware of a total of 19 people that have been struck by gunfire. 3 people, including the suspect, were pronounced deceased at the scene. The 2 deceased victims on scene were identified as a loving daughter and a friend, Savitha Sean, 21 years of age, and a loving son and friend, Ryder Harrington, 19 years of age. These are 2 people that were dearly loved throughout this community, and that is quite clear. Both young individuals with bright futures ahead of them. On Monday, March 2nd, one of the victims, identified as a loving son and friend, George Pedersen, 30 years of age, was pronounced deceased, and he had just moved to Austin 2 weeks prior. At this time, 2 victims remain at local hospitals, with 1 in critical condition. Before we begin showing the material, I want to acknowledge the complexity and the gravity of this scene. This viewing material that you're about to see is difficult to hear, it's difficult to see. We didn't do this for the shock value. This is about being as transparent as we can, and believe me, we had to look through video that was appropriate to release to all of you. But it was important, again, to understand the events that led up to this officer-involved shooting. Any video showing the suspect firing his pistol into the crowd is too graphic to show, and we will not share that publicly. We will begin by listening to 2 911 calls, and as you can imagine, we received numerous calls, 911 calls, which were hard to listen to. And these are the 2 that we're going to be sharing today. This is our second call.
Buford on 6th Street, there was gunfire. The cops right here, but everybody... Is anybody with you, Sean? Yeah, there's nobody shot with me, but I heard like 6 gunshots from inside. Everybody ducked down the bottom floor. It sounded like it was from the... We're just right outside. We're hiding between cars. Okay. We're behind you, bro. Over there, right? Here, that's like yeah, there's cops running towards it. There's more with help out. There were 6 gunshots, and there was 3 more on the street beside Buford, towards the right, looking south. There was about 3 more. I think those are the cops fighting against it. There's also more sirens coming in.
Yes, we have a lot of help on the way, okay? Stay in a safe place. I need to go answer another 911 call, okay?
Go for it. Thank you. We're fine. We're in cars. But answer another call, please.
Yeah, stay
We're all safe.
okay?
We're all safe.
All right.
We're all safe. Thank you. It will be shot.
We're now going to listen to radio traffic.
That the shooter vehicle is going to be a Chevy Tahoe. They are saying somebody was shot. George 301 going 23, units will the air. 6 or 7 gunshots.
Yep, director travel, suspect. George 301, VF Chevy Tahoe, 04, I do have 1 victim. Looks like he possibly shot it. We're right here on the side street. For the male. Also here about, we probably have about 6 or 8 people that are active in shot. We're going 23 with the medics at the clear, bring them in. George 301 is trying to be AC right away.
AC right away.
That's an officer assistance.
We're calling the officers we can get. We have a lot of people running out. We need to make this the crime scene as soon as we can.
Clear right away has been started.
Unknown on where the suspect went, all we have is a white SUV. 505 off you command. RTF1 is 23. 79, I'm in command. RTF2, I have command. We're inside here first. We have at least 1 victim. Patient contact. Responding units, we need you guys to clear 6th Street. EMS to have a route of ingress. George 505, AXP is going to be 6 in Rio. Right, 302 responding units. I cannot stress this enough. You guys need to keep 6th Street clear. Shut it down if you have to. Maybe on George, just let y'all know you pretty much have the city coming to you. Do you want them to stage at the main and dispatch from there? What do you guys need? 709, there are additional shots being fired. That was to the west. Those shots were on the on West Avenue. The thing you said 8 off 15 to the west.
6th Street.
South side of 1 mile. Take down west out. Left wheel. 9-foot though. 9 down left. I'm on the doctor. Move to now. On the street. And left.
Now we're going to listen to, or we're going to look at video, and this first video is from a parked vehicle that picked this video up. You can see our suspect come into frame. He has the AR in his hand. And this is a pedestrian that was walking by. Second video is our halo surveillance. That is our high activity location observation. And this is throughout downtown, at least that 6th Street area. We were able to capture this. And the red circle there is going to be, this is after he parked the vehicle and as he's walking eastbound on 6th Street toward the officers. This is what that's going to show.
All right, so that is an update from Austin PD there, and they're showing surveillance video from the night of that mass shooting over the weekend there in Austin. All right, let's come back here at home and let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. All right, Charlotte City Council is meeting there. They are discussing several things on the agenda.
So many things.
Affordable housing.
So many things. Sorry,
that is Julie Kay. So many things.
Whispering in Nick's ear over here.
They're also talking about the controversial I-77 expansion, which Walker Lawson is on. He'll have more for us on WCNC Charlotte. And street vending.
Yep.
Street vendors, that program which ended in NODA. And it's just been one of those big talkers here in Charlotte. They're talking about it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is council's committee day. That's why there's so many things going on.
Okay.
And so just to be clear that they may push things forward, but a full council will still need to make big decisions for everyone. But today is when they get to kind of have those longer discussions about things like street vending, and they're doing it right now. It's their safety committee that is talking and hearing from CDOT and planning and city officials about the recommendations going forward. So you mentioned that NODA pilot program where street vendors in not all of NODA, but in that main intersection, that main couple streets, had to, for a few months, get a permit, and they would have more regulations, and if they were to violate, there would be a fine, things like that. That ended. The city council did not choose to extend that. So right now, NODA is operating in the same way as most of Uptown, a congested business district, which means it's basically illegal. There are some exceptions, particularly in Uptown, that are organized by other groups that the city allows to organize that. But that's in very particular areas for very particular things. But it's largely illegal in Uptown. Same for that part of NODA right now. What City Council is considering today are two potential new policy changes. One, putting those restrictions citywide. So places that we're thinking, not just NODA, but South End, Plaza Midwood, that's actually where I went today to talk to people. Those places where you think of, those are going to be the most impacted. There will still be some exceptions. Festivals, maybe some things like they have in Uptown with that area that's, kind of put together by a city recommended source. So there might be some of those exceptions if they were to push this through, but that would be a big change for some of the other areas in the city, like you mentioned Plaza and South End in particular. The second restriction that they're considering, or policy change, would be adding criminal penalties for people that violate. Now, the discussion over this is, it's a last resort, is what pretty much everyone is saying. They don't want this to be the case, of course.
Right.
What CDOT basically said was, there's a couple bad actors here that make something like this potentially necessary. Council also agreed, a last resort situation. Dimple Ajmira, the last thing I heard before I came in here was her mentioning that, I don't want to criminalize street vending because that's not what we do for businesses that
it sounds
violate.
serious. It sounds
Right, very serious. And if the whole point here is we're talking about equality between brick and mortar businesses and street vendors, it sounds like we're making it even harsher on street vendors than businesses. So there's a lot of what are we doing here? How far is too far? Everyone seems to be aware of the fact that street vendors, especially in a place like NODA, that's part of the culture and sorry, I just hit the mic, part of the culture, part of the experience, part of the economy of some of these areas. And so it's very complicated and nuanced. But from what it sounds like at this point, it sounds like they're at least going to push these forward in some aspect to a bigger group of council members.
You've been covering this a lot, and there's a lot to sort of parse through. Julie, when can folks catch your story?
4:30 and 5:30.
Because I want to get you back to that meeting, because that meeting is still underway. Discussion is still underway.
It'll be going for a while. I'm not too worried.
Julie Kay here covering, this is political, all things politics. Thank you for stopping by, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to go now to a virtual announcement that's happening right now involving attorneys general from California, Oregon, Arizona, New York, making this announcement. Let's take a listen into what's being said.
Like the U.S. was when we were on the gold standard. It is an archaic statute that was never intended for its current purpose as used by the Trump administration. During the past year, Trump could have found many various legal ways to pass his economic agenda. If he had the support of Congress, he could have legally passed his tariffs by now. He certainly found time to pass legislation like H.R. 1 that removes health care benefits and strips food assistance away from Americans. But the truth is, he doesn't have the support of Congress, and nor does he have the support of the American people, and he is doing an end run. Make no mistake about it, President Trump's signature economic policy is historically unpopular and is costing Americans, our businesses, and us as states hundreds of billions of dollars. The Trump administration continues to brag about taking in close to $200 billion of tariff revenue. At the same time, recently, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York issued a report concluding that Americans, not foreign countries or companies, are paying for 87% of his unlawful tariffs. This has been unquestionably the largest tax increase on Americans without congressional approval. And it cannot continue just because a few of Trump's lawyers have found a way to twist words and craft a legal argument. If the Trump administration took the time to listen to Oregonians, these are the type of things that he would hear. He would hear from our restaurants who are purchasing certain food items that can't be made in the United States, and those costs are passed down to us as consumers. He would talk to our retailers that hear and need component parts for the products they're selling to Oregonians, again, passing those costs down to Oregonians. He would talk to a local chocolate manufacturer, the very types of jobs that President Trump claims to want to incentivize. And he would hear that the manufacturing equipment and cacao that has to be purchased outside the United States has gone up, impacting their business. He would hear from local pharmacies that have fixed reimbursement rates. Again, with medical supplies increasing, it is causing layoffs. He would hear from our agricultural industry and our nursery industry, where his tariff policies are destroying trade relationships with Canada, relationships that have existed for more than multiple decades. In the conversations we've had over the last year, there is one specific conversation with a small business that has stood out for me. And this is what he said. The challenges of COVID were easier to manage than the chaos of Trump's tariff policy. We are all proud to be a part of such a large coalition fighting to keep the cost of living down for Americans. As attorneys general for all of these states, we will be working incredibly fast and as quick as possible to get in front of a judge to stop these unlawful tariff policies.
Okay, up next we have Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, I'm Attorney General Chris Mays from Arizona. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court of the United States told Donald Trump that his tariffs were illegal, that he had been taxing the American people without the legal authority to do so, that he had to stop. So what did he do? He threw a temper tantrum, and he did it again. Rather than accepting that ruling, the president immediately turned to a different law, one that has never been used to impose tariffs in American history. In fact, it has never been used at all, and slapped a 15% tariff on goods from most countries worldwide. He's calling it a fix. It is not. It is the same illegal power grab under a different statute than he used the last time. Section 122, as my colleague mentioned, of the Trade Act of 1974 authorizes tariffs only in very specific, narrow, limited circumstances, including when there are, and I'm quoting the law directly here, large and serious balance of payments deficits. A trade deficit A trade deficit is not a balance of payments deficit. These are not the same thing at all. The president either doesn't know the difference or he doesn't care. Either way, he is breaking the law again. Today, I am very proud to stand with Oregon AG Dan Rayfield, California Attorney General Rob Bonta, and New York Attorney General Tish James, and attorneys general from across this country representing both Republicans and Democrats and independents in filing suit to stop these tariffs. Because here is what is at stake for Arizona families. Researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that nearly 90% of the cost of Trump's tariffs are paid for by American consumers and businesses, not foreign countries, not foreign manufacturers, but us, residents of all of our states and Americans across this country. Trump's IEEPA tariffs cost Arizona an estimated $1.6 billion. Nationwide, a 10% universal tariff costs the average American household over $1,200 a year. His 15% tariff would push that even higher. That is money out of the pockets of Arizona families trying to buy groceries, pay rent, and keep their small businesses afloat. Donald Trump does not have the constitutional authority to tax the American people on his own. Congress holds that power exclusively. The Court of International Trade, the Appeals Court, and the Supreme Court have all said that. These tariffs are unlawful. They are harmful, and we are going to stop them again. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking next, California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
Thank you, and thank you, A.G. Rayfield and Mays and James. Honored to stand with you once again. I want to start by acknowledging the incredible coalition of attorneys general working together to hold the federal government accountable. We're always stronger when we stand united. This is another example of that. At its core, this lawsuit is about protecting everyday Americans from the harmful effects of unlawful tariffs. President Trump's tariffs hurt families, they raise the cost of goods and make it harder for businesses to operate. California proudly is home to the fourth largest economy in the world. We're the nation's largest importer and the second largest exporter. Millions of families and businesses, large and small, and manufacturers right here in California feel the ripple effects of tariffs immediately. Higher prices in our grocery stores, higher supply costs for local manufacturers, and disruption for businesses that rely on global trade. All 39 million Californians depend on an affordable, predictable economy, and these illegal tariffs undermine all of that. Trump is trying to use an obscure law to push through tariffs that his co-equal branch of Congress, not the president alone, is supposed to authorize. Simply put, the law does not allow this, and we won't stand by while it's broken. Last year, we went to court to challenge Trump's illegal imposition of tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, of 1977. Last month, the Supreme Court struck down those tariffs as unlawful, rightfully so, tracking our exact arguments in this coalition. Today, we're back for round two because instead of accepting the ruling, the president doubled down. He raised the tariffs first to 10% and then announced he'd raise them to 15% under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. Again, Section 122 is an obscure law that has never before been invoked. It's never been relied on before, ever, in its 52-year history. It relies on an outdated system of currency exchange that we don't even use anymore, which means it's entirely irrelevant in this case. In fact, the president's tariffs don't meet any of the requirements of the law. In short, Section 122 doesn't grant the president the authority to impose these tariffs. He's desperately grasping at straws here. The president's rationale for these unlawful tariffs has gone from unreasonable to ridiculous. This is the 60th time since he took office that California has had to step in and take the Trump administration to court to protect our people and our economy from unlawful federal overreach. President Trump ran on the promise of making life more affordable for families, yet here he is, breaking the law to make life more expensive for Americans, literally working overtime, stretching and reaching so far as to break the law in order to raise costs for Americans. At the end of the day, for us, this isn't about political gamesmanship. It's about making sure our communities aren't paying the price for Trump's inability to take an L. Together, we'll continue to push back against unlawful federal overreach and make sure the president follows the law. When the federal government acts outside its authority, we'll...
All right, so we want to interrupt that press conference there, that virtual press conference, for some breaking news just into our newsroom. President Trump has fired DHS Secretary Kristi Noem as DHS Secretary. He is replacing Noem with Oklahoma's Mark Wayne Mullen. He's a senator from Oklahoma. Here's a statement on Truth Social. Actually, let's go to an NBC special report happening right now on this. Let's take a listen in.
And good day. We are coming on the air with more breaking news. President Trump posting on his Truth Social platform that he has fired Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and that he will nominate Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen to become the next DHS Secretary. The president writing, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. I want to bring in Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander. Peter, when I spoke with the president just a few weeks ago, he still had a lot of confidence in Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, pointing to the border, but something has changed over the last few weeks, and what was it?
Well, it's interesting, Tom, you make that point. So this news, I think you can say, is stunning, but it's not surprising. We know the president has grown increasingly frustrated by Kristi Noem's performance as the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, most notably after a series of events that took place over the course of the last several days where she was testifying before Congress. She had been asked a series of questions specifically about the role she played in approving contracts, and notably one, a $220 million ad campaign that was used to encourage immigrants to this country to self-deport. The senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy, said on that issue the president was, in his words, quote, pissed. During the course of the questioning, Noem told Kennedy that the president knew about her decision to approve the ad campaign contracts. You can imagine that did not sit well with the White House, certainly with the president as well. And so that appears to have been the tipping point in this moment. There had previously been some frustration by the president as it related to Noem for her handling of the operations, the immigration enforcement operations that had taken place in Minnesota. So what happens now? The president did not make clear in the course of this post who serves as Secretary of Homeland Security right now. Does Kristi Noem serve in that post until Mark Wayne Mullen can be confirmed? The president in his post said that Mullen will become the next Homeland Security Secretary. Obviously, he needs to be confirmed first. He is a popular Republican. It does not appear, with Republicans maintaining a majority in the Senate, that would be a problem, but it doesn't happen with a snap of the finger, as the president indicated on March 31st. So there are a lot of details still here to be ironed out. And Tom, notably, you talked about your conversation with the president, airing in part during the Super Bowl and the week leading up to it. I was revisiting part of the comments that the president had to you at that time. You asked him specifically about Kristi Noem and if he had confidence in her, and he really didn't speak about Noem specifically, but about the way he and his administration has handled the border. Your interview may have given us the first sort of sense of some of the frustrations that were beginning to build.
Peter, stand by for us. I want to bring in our senior Homeland Security correspondent, Julia Ainsley. Julia, it was just not the ad campaign that senators and congressional leaders were asking about. It was also about a plane, a private jet that you broke some news on. Get our viewers up to speed on that.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. It was just about 2 weeks ago. You and I were talking about these exclusive pictures that we obtained from an airplane that the Department of Homeland Security wanted to buy for $70 million. Those same pictures came back up at both the House and the Senate hearings this week, where Secretary Noem was pressured about why she wanted to buy this airplane and why it was supposed to be designated for deportees. She said that they would retrofit the plane, pull out the bed. This, of course, came with a bedroom, a bar, a kitchen, a large lounge, and 4 flat-screen TVs. This was the kind of luxury the senators were really pressing her about when it came to the spending decisions at DHS. She said that it could be retrofitted, but of course it begged the question, why would they not buy a regular plane for deportations in the first place. So there were a lot of questions that Noam at times struggled to answer, and there was a particular back and forth she had that really, we understand, rankled the president and bothered the White House when she was asked about that ad campaign, and she said the president knew that she was going to spend $220 million on an ad campaign that was supposed to encourage immigrants to self-deport. They said it ended up saving taxpayers money because those people were no longer in the country and deported on their own. But it prominently featured her, and of course it really came as part of an image that some Republicans and certainly Democrats portrayed through those hearings, that Noam had been given a very wide berth when it came to approving contracts with her and her senior advisor, Corey Lewandowski, and that this was somehow a vanity project, that ad campaign really was to glorify her more than it was to do anything when it came to immigration. We should point out, though, Tom, that under her tenure, there was a record low number of border crossings at the southern border. Of course, that's to do with this administration's policy basically banning asylum for anyone crossing the border. But she has had some successes, and we know, of course, that her power in this administration began to diminish earlier this year after the fatal shootings of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty in Minneapolis, both at the hands of DHS. And that was in large part after a surge in that area led by Greg Bovino, a Border Patrol commander, who reported directly to her. When the administration decided to pull back Bovino and send in Todd Lyons, that was the first signal that Noam's power within this administration may have been faltering.
All right, Julia, we thank you. I want to bring in our senior Capitol Hill correspondent, Ryan Nobles. Ryan, you were watching these hearings yesterday. Tell us a little bit about those hearings. The administration started out with that DOGE campaign to really take money out of the government to stop wasteful spending. And then you had these hearings which were all about the ad campaigns and about these private jets.
Yeah, and oftentimes, Tom, these very public hearings that are televised broadly is something that the president is very specifically keened in on. And when his administration officials do well in those hearings, it usually raises their profile within the administration. And Noam took a brutal beating over the past couple of days, and not just from Democrats, but Republicans as well. This morning, I talked to Senator John Kennedy, who was among the Republicans that really asked some tough questions of Noam, specifically about that ad campaign that Julia was talking about. And Senator Kennedy, I should say, told me that the president called him after seeing that back and forth between Noam and the senator, and specifically said that his recollection, meaning Trump's recollection of who authorized that ad campaign, was different from the testimony that Noam provided in the hearing, that the president signed off on it and was aware of that ad campaign. So there was clearly a level of dissatisfaction among not just Republicans in Congress, but Democrats as well. There were countless numbers of Democrats that had called on her to step down or resign, or even perhaps threatened to move to impeachment proceedings.
Yeah. If you can, in 20 seconds, give us a preview of Senator Markwayne Mullin. What should we expect?
Markwayne Mullin is very much liked by members of the Senate, his colleagues, which will ultimately vote to confirm him. I have to imagine picking a popular senator that would have an easy confirmation process was part of the president's calculations when making this pick, Tom.
Ryan Nobles, we thank you for that. That's going to conclude this NBC News special report. We're going to have much more ahead on our streaming network, NBC News Now. We'll follow this breaking news and a full wrap-up tonight on Nightly News.
All right, so that was that NBC special report. Again, Kristi Noem out as DHS Secretary. We'll have more as more information comes. There was a post on Truth Social from President Trump. You see it right there. It reads, "I am pleased to announce the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. We are announcing on Saturday in Florida." He goes on to thank Kristi Noem for her service. And so, again, news that we continue to follow here that just came into our newsroom, and that we showed you that special report from NBC to give you more context on what has played out. She has testified in front of Congress over the past couple of days. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. It's another warm day outside. Let's check in on our full forecast with meteorologist Majestic Storm.
What a gorgeous Thursday we have really all across the Carolinas. Sunny skies, and it doesn't just look nice, but those temperatures feel incredible. Temperatures today will be climbing back into the upper 70s, even warmer by tomorrow. Possible record warmth as we're heading into our Friday. Temperatures, can you believe it? They'll be over 80 degrees multiple times, but as you're heading into this weekend, I know you're probably making some outdoor plans, at least hope you are. It's going to be fantastic. You'll also have to keep your eyes on the sky because we do have some small chances of rain showers and even a few isolated thunderstorms as well. Now, throughout the rest of the day today, it's all about the sunny skies, the warm temperatures. You will feel a little bit of a breeze at times because those winds are moving in from the southwest, gusting anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour. That is what helps to usher in the warmer air, and then overall our temperatures really respond nicely to that. Upper 70s today, low 80s by tomorrow, and then heading into the weekend, small dip in temperatures on Sunday, but really not too much. And if you're wondering, is this the norm? It's really not, actually pretty far from it. We should be at 61 degrees for this time of the year, but we'll be well above that for several days. Now, next week, we will see a big drop in temperatures, especially between Wednesday into Friday. You can see that big drop there, and it's not just cooler air, but possibly another round of more impactful rain. No rain to worry about today. It's going to be a gorgeous Thursday. Satellite and radar really indicating we don't have any issues. This is a big weather story across the country. It's really some thunderstorm activity that we had this morning, even some flash flood warnings that have been issued across the Ohio Valley by the National Weather Service. It's officially severe weather season, and the Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting several states across the country that'll be impacted by severe weather today. Look at this. This is Friday, a high risk.
All right, so we want to interrupt weather. We want to take you now to, I believe this is in Nashville, Tennessee, Kristi Noem, who has just been ousted as DHS Secretary, replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen by President Trump. Let's take a listen in. She's speaking for the first time.
That we may face, but also respond to them in a way that honors what our ideals are. The sacred duty of our government truly is that people are entrusted to secure the rights also of all the American people. You know, the Declaration of Independence states that governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed, which is the people. The people give us the right to do our jobs each and every day. And as long as this world is fractured and as long as human nature is fallen, we will need brave men and women who step up and serve and enforce our rights and our laws and our values. And that's what all of you do in this room with your colleagues. The heroism was on full display this last week when we saw the attack in Austin, Texas, and we saw that the first responders that helped protected people and more lives there were our law enforcement that responded immediately. Instead of running away, they ran to it. And though we lost 3 lives and saw many other people injured, they prevented so many other lives from being lost. We're very grateful that they are willing to do that and to serve in such a way. In fact, it reminded me of the quote that is often attributed to George Orwell that states, "People sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalves," which means you step up in order to protect people, and you do it in a way that other people often are never going to be required to. When tragedies like what we saw in Austin take place, it's your leadership and it's your decision making that make all the difference. You use judgment, and people entrust you with their lives. You're on the front lines of leadership, and you have the responsibility of guiding and also shaping the next generation. So we thank you for that, and we thank you for what you do. I know that I've met many of you in the room. I've had the chance to visit with you. I appreciate your wisdom and your advice as we continue to develop trainings and insight into how leadership can work together to make good decisions and to break down the silos between agencies so that we can work together more different, in better ways than we have in the past. And you know we're seeing challenges across the country from judges and courts that are working to stop some of our efforts, that are looking to take away some of the protections that you need in law to do your work. And then also we're seeing some challenges from sanctuary states in sanctuary cities. In fact, after I get done sharing a few more words, I want to hear your questions on ways that we can help you do your jobs. If you're in a situation where the laws may be a little different than it is in other states, or you may have unique challenges that perhaps we could work together on to find ways to help you bring criminals to justice and to protect your community from public safety threats. America is the greatest country in the world, and it's the greatest country in the world that has great cities and great communities. Regardless of where people live, we need to make sure that they have an opportunity to go to work every day safely and to send their kids to school safely every day. Sanctuary cities do give us a challenge because it makes it difficult at times for law enforcement to do their work. And we see that many times when a city cooperates with the federal government, cooperates with our federal officers, that it is safer. In fact, 7 of our top 10 safest countries in the nation are not sanctuary cities. They're cities where the local law enforcement partners with us. They partner with our federal agencies, with the FBI, DEA, ATF, CBP, ICE, and our operations. And we've also seen across the country where 5 of our 10 most crime-ridden cities do not cooperate with us, where those that are not cooperative with federal officers will see challenges on their streets. We've seen a lot of different situations from city to city. The one thing I would encourage you that no matter how frustrated you may be with some of that we can find a way to work together to do some good work for our people. In fact, even in Memphis, where we saw different leadership, we had different parties in the governorship and in the mayor, we still were able to arrest and bring to justice over 2,600 criminals, and in a way that significantly dropped their crime rate and significantly helped those communities continue to take those public safety threats off the streets. We got over 150 different illegal sex offenders off of the street. We saw one of those arrests included a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela that was convicted of aggravated criminal assault and abuse of a child. I'm thankful that that individual is no longer on the streets because of the cooperation of those local law enforcement. We have agreements across the country called 287G agreements. I'm sure you're familiar with them, but there is 3 different models that are available. One is a jail model that helps us with some detention. The other is a warrant service officer model that is extremely helpful for us to make sure that we can take jurisdiction or of an individual who's a criminal in the safety of an environment of a courthouse or a jail, and they can be turned over to ICE so that we have the ability to return them back home. And the other model would be in the task force model, which I hope many of you have the opportunity to cooperate with us in, where we can use our different authorities to go out and go after the worst of the worst, those targeted operations that go after violent offenders and criminal offenders, and that we can bring them to justice and get them out of your city and your state. We've seen that program go from before President Trump was in office to only 135 of those agreements across the country signed, to now we have over 1,400 of them in place. And it's been very beneficial to make sure that we've removed over 400,000 criminal offenders out of this country. We've seen 3 million people leave our country that were here illegally, but over 750,000 of them were arrested and detained and removed. We'd much rather prefer that they volunteer to go home and that it can be a volunteer situation, but if not, if people are here illegally and committing crimes, we want to make sure we're able to detain them and get them out of your communities before we create more victims in the United States. I'm grateful for the work that you do because it's made a difference across this country. This last year, we've seen our murder rate in the United States of America drop to the lowest level since it's ever been recorded. And we've recorded our murder rate across the country for 125 years, and this year we broke the record for the lowest murder rate in the country, and that's because of the work of individuals in this room and individuals that we've been able to partner with. We've also taken 1.7 billion lethal doses of drugs off our streets and stopped them from coming into the United States. That means 1.7 billion people will still be with us because of the work that our agencies and our work has done. Our Coast Guard is an important asset in the Department of Homeland Security, and they've worked with us, and maybe have worked with some of you in the room as well, to help interdict those drugs and stop them from coming into our country. You know, President Trump has been working hard to make sure that he's delivering on what he promised the American people, and that's to make America safe again. In doing so, we have gone out and found over 1,500 known and suspected terrorists that were let into this country over the open border invasion that we saw during the last administration. Those 1,500 individuals who were already on our known and suspected terrorist watch list have been brought to justice and removed. We know there's many more, but we're going to still continue to look for them, to find them, and to do all that we can to make sure that this country is safe. Beyond that, we've also arrested and removed over 7,700 gang members, TDA members, MS-13, Sinaloa cartel. The president is extremely focused on fighting cartels and recognize them as a foreign terrorist organization so that we can have new authorities to go after them. And we'll be working throughout the Western Hemisphere with all the countries to make sure that we're biting the snake off, cutting its head off, with fighting the cartels before they ever reach the United States, stopping the drug flow, stopping the guns and ammunition from getting here and hurting our families in the homeland. We'll continue to work together to make sure that we have the opportunity to do that. To everybody in the room that puts on a uniform, that wears a badge, that steps out every single day and does something that so few others do, put your life on the line for your brothers and your sisters and your families, and you do it in your home community, I want to say thank you. And I also want to let you know that I believe that if there's something that you need for your families, that you need to let us know. I've found many times people can't do their job with excellence if there's a crisis at home. I've been working to get raises and better salaries and retirements for all of our law enforcement officers that are at the Department of Homeland Security, because I recognize that if you're having challenges at home financially, providing for your family, working overtime to make ends meet, trying to buy a house and put food on the table, it's very difficult to focus on your job and to do it with excellence. We want to take care of our families. So all of your suggestions and ideas, bring them forward. I will continue to push for that because I'm a strong believer that we need you at the top of your game every day. And that means that your family needs to be right beside you, happy, healthy, and whole, and that God can continue to protect you and protect them and make sure that you have a chance at the American dream too. So with that, why don't we open it up to some questions? I know some of you may have some prepared and some of you may just thought, hey, I've always wanted to ask her this. You sure can.
Secretary.
Yes, sir.
Rob Moseda.
Yes.
What a blessing it is to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Given our current state in Chicago, we understand we have no comment about the sanctuary, law enforcement, more of a targeted response. I think the hearts and minds of a lot of my great-grandson of Mexican Post immigrants. A lot of people, they just, when you go after, for lack of a better term, the tamale, it kind of like, they've been there 30 years, they're not causing trouble as opposed to criminals.
Right.
I think that needs to be the focus in Chicago, more strategic planning that needs to happen. Similar.
Yep.
Suited for that as a
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. I don't know if you guys heard that question, but he talked about targeted enforcement, and Rob was saying how it's much more effective in a lot of, especially these sanctuary cities, where we can work on targeting those individuals who have a criminal history besides their legal status that may be in violation of their visa or work permit, but that we work on those and make sure we're going out and doing that with the local law enforcement as much as we possibly can. And that is something that we are going to continue to do and make sure that we're focusing and prioritizing those individuals and make sure that we're addressing the public safety threats there. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tax-free pensions for retirees, law enforcement.
Okay, let me visit with him about it. That'd be great. Well, we're talking about doing some other tax benefits for other, so that may be something we could wrap into that conversation. Great idea. Perfect. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. My name is Chris Galligan. I'm the Vice President of San Francisco Police Officers Association. First of all, I just want to say thank you for recognizing major cities and all of our police unions here across the nation. It means a great deal for you to be here today, so thank you for that. My question, local officers have increasingly been on the front lines of Homeland Security, yet we are still funded and staffed like a city responsibility, not a national one. How will DHS ensure local agencies aren't carrying federal priorities on local budgets and with local staffing?
So you maybe have some challenges in San Francisco just because of your state laws and local laws that may, although you've got a mayor that works with us very well.
That's great.
He probably doesn't want me to talk about it a lot, actually,
Please do.
but he has been cooperative, and we have great conversations and talk quite often. And many times in doing law enforcement in your city, if the federal task force is coming in, you know, it's more preferable for the FBI to lead and the Department of Homeland Security to come in supportive roles, which is what we've done, and that works very well in your city. Thank you for your focus there, too. I think the city is seeing some dramatic improvements under this leadership. When you talk about funding, we have tied a lot of our funding that we have for enforcement this year and prioritized over $1.5 billion towards 287G agreements. So we've reimbursed departments that have an agreement, or a county or a sheriff, with funding them on overtime or on benefits, some of the other things that we can do. We've also, on the jail model, obviously reimbursed per beds. If you don't have the opportunity to participate in 287G, I think your best options for funding alternatives would be through some grants that we have at the department. We have specific grants towards terrorism grants that you can do, some security grants, and there's hazard mitigation grants that are in Homeland Security safety grants through FEMA that would be available. So maybe what I'll do is I will forward those grant opportunities to all of you so that you can share them with your departments and have that opportunity. We also have some grants specifically targeted towards special operations. So if you've got some special operations that fit into that category, we could get you some funding that way.
Great. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes. Hi, Craig. Yes. Mm-hmm.
One police officer and one sergeant called Border Patrol for assistance, and then after that happened, he tried to fire them for asking Border Patrol to come assist them.
Oh, shoot.
Most recently, they just suspended both officers for 30 days without pay.
The Border Patrol?
No, Detroit
Oh, those
police.
officers in Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit
Okay.
police. So the one incident was the female of the house called because the husband was trying to break into the house. When the officers got there, he had a bad passport and a bad Social Security card. So they called Border Patrol for assistance.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up taking him to jail because he had a warrant outside the city of Detroit. The second one was, it was a traffic stop. The fingerprint reader wasn't working, so they called for them to bring theirs over there, and the person had a warrant also. So both officers got suspended without pay for 30 days.
So did the officers that did the arresting, was that the Detroit officers that did it, or did the Border Patrol?
Border Patrol ended up arresting them because one had an out the city warrant, and the other one had other information that.
Okay. That's one of the things that I think a lot of citizens don't necessarily know, is that CBP and ICE are law enforcement officers and do enforce other crimes that have been committed. But if we can be advocates for those law enforcement officers, we certainly will. And maybe we could come up with some kind of an agreement that would allow those officers to still be able to call on Border Patrol for backup and assistance when they need it. I hate to put them in a situation where now the officers in Detroit, when they need help and need assistance, that they can't call on Border Patrol when they might be the closest asset. So maybe I'll get some contact information from you and see what we can do to work out an agreement with Detroit on being able to call on Border Patrol with some guidance on how those interactions will work.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. My name is Don Famuina, and I represent the State of Hawaii Organization of Police Officers. First of all, I would like to extend our sincerest aloha and mahalo for all that you and your administration are doing. Given Hawaii's status as a major international gateway, how is DHS balancing the current administration's strict zero-tolerance border policies with the unique reality of Hawaii's isolated geography and its dependence on international tourism?
Yeah, you do have some unique situations for us, and I hope that we've worked well with you. We have a presence in Hawaii, where you wouldn't necessarily see a large ICE presence doing immigration enforcement. More of what we are pursuing in Hawaii would be through our TSA officials, and then also we have CBP there, of course, because of all the travel back and forth and individuals. CBP is the largest law enforcement agency that we have, one of the largest in the country, and it does all traveler information internationally, and so I'm sure that you're interacting with them quite often. So we don't, as far as targeted operations, you may see a presence in Hawaii if we know specific individuals there. And we are tracking and have signed security agreements with other countries. I think since I've been Homeland Security Secretary, we've signed 27 different security agreements with other countries to share information with us. If they have a dangerous individual that they think maybe has traveled into the United States, we will share those databases with each other. They share theirs with us so that we know when some of these individuals are coming into the country. And that may be, I'd say, the vast majority of the interactions you'll see in Hawaii. If you've got some suggestions for us or experience, I'd sure love to hear.
We'll definitely do that. Mahalo.
Oh, mahalo. Yes, sir.
Hi. My name is Jeff Wader. I'm the proud president of the Rochester Police Locust Club, located between Buffalo and Syracuse, and just a shameless plug, go Bills.
Yeah, that's right, good.
So I used to have, my T of O is 728 officers.
Okay.
I'm currently down to 594. And I had 2 more come in the other day that they're retiring. And we have a very, very difficult time retaining our members, but also hiring. And I know this is a issue throughout the country, especially in larger communities. My question to you is the federal government and or the Trump administration, are they able to provide bonuses for retention and bonuses for hiring incentives to start building back our staff?
I don't know if we do for local and state law enforcement agencies. We have been doing that at our federal level with our departments, CBP and ICE. We have done that. We also, I put in the budget request a 10% increase for all of our federal officers. I wasn't granted that, but we're going to get there hopefully in this next budget round. I will look to see what latitude we have to do that. We'd have to do it in a way of grants with restrictions that it could only be plugged into salaries and bonuses. I think, you tell me, we've done a lot of hiring bonuses. And for me, it is just as important to do retention bonuses. I think it must be extremely discouraging for officers who've served for years to see other individuals hired with a huge hiring bonus while they've been showing up and been dependable and been doing the work day after day and not see that. So it's one of those things that we're working on in our department as well.
Thank you. And just a side note to that is that we're seeing things now where officers will buy 3 years worth of military time and they do 17 years and they walk out the door at 20.
That's
so they're
right.
not even doing their full 20 anymore. They just want to get out. So
That's right.
Whatever we can do to help retain them and
hang on to them. Did you lose most of your people through retirements and early retirements like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since 2020, we had our riots and our protests. Our projection right now is by 2030, 54% of my membership will be eligible to retire.
Okay.
And they're projecting that we'll be down to 500 officers at that point.
See, and that's our challenge at the federal level, too. We've got Secret Service is under my department, and we see that, though, through other federal agencies, that we've got the next 2 or 3 years a high number of retirements coming our way. We've done huge recruitment drives, and we've hired a lot of new officers, but we also need to hang on to them and make sure we're taking care of the ones that are with us. All right, let me look at that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to answer our questions. My name is John Crystal. I'm a captain with the Newark Police Department and the president of the Newark Police Superior Officers Association. Question here is, how does the Department of Homeland Security foresee the current Trump administration reconciling federal policies with state policies in referencing to the sharing of information by local and state agencies when it comes to illegal aliens wanted for crimes?
Mm-hmm.
Some of our sanctuary states, just like New Jersey and Newark, they've implemented policies, executive orders, introduced legislation barring cooperation with the Department of Homeland Security with sharing of this information.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see that come out of New Jersey. It's been It's been hard to see that. We've seen several states and governors stand up and say that they were going to stop cooperation and make it illegal to partner with us. One of the things that we need to do a little bit more is highlight how our 287G agreements can be flexible and can work differently. I'm coming to meet with a lot of the New York State sheriffs here real soon and get some ideas from them on ways that we can have informal agreements if necessary to do that. There's also, I found that a lot of sheriff's departments.
All right, that is Kristi Noem, Secretary Kristi Noem, as she addresses folks there in Nashville, Tennessee, just moments after we got word and got news that she is stepping down from being, or I should say, she's being replaced by Senator Mullen as DHS Secretary. Let's come back here at home. That's still going live in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. All right, so we want to catch you up. Big story today out of Fort Mill, South Carolina. The South Carolina Department of Environmental Services issuing a total stop at Silfab Solar in Fort Mill today after a second incident involving chemicals at the York County manufacturing plant. Our Anna King is there covering that story for us. She'll have the latest for us coming up a little later. Right now on Live Impact News, we have Attorney General, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson on the phone. Mr. Wilson, thank you for your time.
It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
I just want to, I know we got a few minutes here. I just want to ask you, what do you know, what can you tell us so far about this, about what's happening?
Well, first off, I've been receiving a number of reports from community members up in that area, as well as I've been reading media accounts of this issue at Silfab. I've also been in touch with various state agency directors, as well as reached out to the EPA on this matter. What I can tell you is our office was on a call earlier today with the director of the Department of Environmental Services, among other state agencies. And we are doing a complete and full investigation and review on the matter involving what occurred at Silfab. We obviously don't want to go into too much detail as to what we know or don't know, because right now it's ongoing. But we are exploring all of the facts. We are looking at all of the evidence. Obviously, we ask community members who may have information to reach out to our office or to the Department of Environmental Services and provide that information to us. I have reached out to the EPA administrator and members of the EPA to ask them for a full review from the federal side. But we are looking at this, and we are going to explore every single legal action available to us. At the end of the day, what is most important is the public health and safety of community members, especially the children in the nearby schools.
Have you spoken with SilFab? And I know you said you spoke with community members. Can you kind of give us some insight on what those conversations have been like?
We have been speaking with the agencies directly involved with the regulation of SilFab. As the Attorney General, we don't regulate, but we do have some legal oversight and authority. We are looking currently at the laws available to us. We're also looking at the evidence. We're looking at the information that has been provided to us to answer the questions. As you are aware, we sent a letter to SilFab earlier this week with a number of questions that we wanted to know when the news of these chemical leaks were first breaking. We wanted to know what they knew, when they knew it, what was going on, when did it happen. We wanted to know, we had a bunch of questions that we wanted answered, but we're also working with the state regulators charged with the permitting processes as well as the environmental regulation over manufacturing plants such as this one. So our goal is to get all the facts, get all of the evidence, and then work with our state and federal agency partners to take the appropriate actions. At the end of the day, ensuring the safety, the public health and safety of everyone in that community is the number one priority for us.
You just spoke to it. My last question for you, and thank you for your time, Attorney General Alan Wilson here on the phone with us on Live Impact News. My last question for you, again, you alluded to it, the path forward. What's next? A lot of folks there in that community wonder what's next, and how do you move forward?
Well, I've been told that DES is obviously given SilFab at 4 p.m. to shut down. I'm allowing that process to take place. Obviously, I've spoken with the director of environmental services and offered our offices support on anything that they need. But the number one goal is to get this process shut down until we can get our arms wrapped around what happened and what is going to happen, and make sure that everyone has full faith and confidence that manufacturing plant is not a danger to the community. And obviously, if there is anyone to hold accountable, that is our goal, is to hold accountable anyone who is taking part in anything that has endangered the community. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all the facts. We're going to act accordingly. We're going to make sure that all of the questions that all of your viewers have are answered and publicly disseminated so that there's a full accounting of what's happening up there.
South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson on the phone, speaking with us after a second incident there at SilFab. Attorney General Wilson, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. We want to head back now to Nashville, Tennessee, and hear from now former DHS. Well, I don't want to say former because she's still on the job until the 31st, but she has been replaced, Kristi Noem, as DHS Secretary. She is being replaced by Senator Mullen out of Oklahoma. But we are hearing from Noem since that news broke about an hour ago. Let's take a listen in. She's speaking right now live in Nashville, Tennessee.
Upholding the oath that everybody took when they signed up for law enforcement. So, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for letting me be with you. You have a fantastic meeting. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for coming to this conference and spending some time together. I hope you get some fellowship. From what I understand, cops are pretty good at that. So you have fun. I'm sorry I can't stick around for it, but God bless you. And may God continue to bless our great country. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
All right, so that is Kristi Noem there speaking there in Nashville, Tennessee. I just want to read you what NBC News has right now on their website. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is stepping down at the end of the month. President Donald Trump said Thursday, saying that he would tap Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, Republican out of Oklahoma, to replace her. He went on to write on Truth Social, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. Again, President Trump writing that on Truth Social. He added that Noem, who he said, quote, has served us well, will take over a new role called Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The president described the position as one that will lead, quote, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. All right, so that news came in. You just heard from Kristi Noem. She just wrapped up her speech in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, let's switch gears. Let's come back here at home, and we want to check on the weather. We brought you the forecast earlier, but we had some breaking news we needed to get to, so we had to interrupt that forecast. Let's bring back that forecast. Here's meteorologist Majestic Storm with a full look at your weather.
What a gorgeous Thursday we have really all across the Carolinas. Sunny skies, and it doesn't just look nice, but those temperatures feel incredible. Temperatures today will be climbing back into the upper 70s, even warmer by tomorrow. Possible record warmth as we're heading into our Friday. Temperatures, can you believe it? They'll be over 80 degrees multiple times, but as you're heading into this weekend, I know you're probably making some outdoor plans, at least hope you are. It's going to be fantastic. You'll also have to keep your eyes on the sky because we do have some small chances of rain showers and even a few isolated thunderstorms as well. Now, throughout the rest of the day today, it's all about the sunny skies, the warm temperatures. You will feel a little bit of a breeze at times because those winds are moving in from the southwest, gusting anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour. That is what helps to usher in the warmer air, and then overall our temperatures really respond nicely to that. Upper 70s today, low 80s by tomorrow, and then heading into the weekend, small dip in temperatures on Sunday, but really not too much. And if you're wondering, is this the norm? It's really not, actually pretty far from it. We should be at 61 degrees for this time of the year, but we'll be well above that for several days. Now, next week, we will see a big drop in temperatures, especially between Wednesday into Friday. You can see that big drop there, and it's not just cooler air, but possibly another round of more impactful rain. No rain to worry about today. It's going to be a gorgeous Thursday. Satellite and radar really indicating we don't have any issues. This is a big weather story across the country. It's really some thunderstorm activity that we had this morning, even some flash flood warnings that have been issued across the Ohio Valley by the National Weather Service. It's officially severe weather season, and the Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting several states across the country that'll be impacted by severe weather today. Look at this. This is Friday, a high risk for severe storms for a large majority of the central half of the country. And then once we head into Saturday, this is a little bit bit concerning because we do have a widespread risk, but that does include parts of our viewing area. Now, I will say this is a low-end risk, and it does not include Charlotte, but mainly areas northwest of us. What that simply means is that if we have an isolated thunderstorm that does develop, it may have the ability to quickly turn strong to severe. It's important that if you're going to be out and about this weekend, maybe you're heading out to the golf course, maybe you're heading out to go fishing on the lake, watch the sky because those storms can be very, very sneaky. Our overall rain chances over the next several days, they're going to be pretty low. Looks like next week we could have a better wet weather maker, and we'll be watching that especially by the middle to end of the week. Futurecast, if you have any plans for your Thursday, it's going to be nice. One of those days those kids are coming home from school, send them outside to play, or maybe head out to the park today. I mean, temperatures even right around dinner time will be into the upper 60s to low 70-degree temperatures, so it could even be a really nice evening to sit outside. And don't forget, we're getting close to the weekend and it's daylight saving time. We'll have to flip our clocks forward an hour this weekend. That means our new sunrise will be at 7:43, our new sunset almost at 7:30 as we're heading into next week. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast looks like this. It does not look very March-like, I'll tell you that. It actually looks more May-like. Upper 70s today, low 80s tomorrow. If you're heading out to the Charlotte FC game on Saturday, that should be a lot of fun, a warm one though. And then again, we're going to be watching that system Saturday and into Sunday. Overall, small impacts, but those impacts are still lingering. Next week, we're bringing the heat again with mid-80s returning on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hope you have a great day.
All right, that is our full forecast. Let's head to break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Serderman. All right, so we continue to follow a second incident at SilFab, that plant in Fort Mill. We heard from Attorney General Alan Wilson, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, but we're also getting some context on this second spill and just some of the impacts, potential impacts this could have. So just moments ago, Jay Monreal got a chance to speak with Professor Susan Richardson. She is with the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at the University of South Carolina. Let's take a listen in to their interview.
And so what exactly is hydrofluoric acid? What can it do?
Hydrofluoric acid is nasty. It's technically a weak acid, but it behaves like it's something stronger. It's extremely dangerous, it's highly corrosive, and it's very toxic. So all around, it's just really bad. In fact, I've often told people I never want hydrofluoric acid in my own chemistry research lab, because if you get a drop on your skin, it goes straight through your skin, through your tissue, and dissolves your bone. So that's how nasty it can be. And if you inhale it in your lungs, it's going to, destroy your lungs too. And it's a poison. It's toxic too. So it is not good to be around.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And what would the industrial use for this substance be?
Yeah, one of the big users is in making silicon chips. So the semiconductor industry, that would be your computers, your smartphones, so that's a big use. And it's used for cleaning and etching those silicon wafers. It's a great etching thing because it dissolves stuff, it's strong and dissolves stuff. And also it's used for making fluoropolymers, Teflon-like things, your nonstick cooking pans and that kind of stuff. And also anybody takes Prozac, fluorinated pharmaceuticals, so HF is used in the manufacture of those as well. There are a lot of pharmaceuticals that have fluorines in them, and they're safe, right? They're safe, but hydrofluoric acid, HF, is used in the manufacture of many pharmaceuticals like that have fluorines in them.
And how is this stored properly, and how could it leak?
Yeah, it's because it etches glass as well. It's used in the glass etching industry. You can't store it in a glass bottle like we store a lot of our other, strong acids and things like this and strong bases. So it's generally stored in Teflon-lined plastic bottles, containers. I don't know about an industry, but that's that's how we would store it in the lab if it were to be in my lab. But I imagine they have probably giant vats in industry. But being corrosive, I don't know that it can be stored in metal either.
So I don't know, are the chances of it leaking, it would have to be a specific substance or a process by how it leaked, right?
Right, and I don't really know. I didn't get the circumstances of how this leaked out. So if it were stored in glass, and I'm sure the company's not storing it in glass, they know better, it could eat right through that glass and leak out itself. So I don't really know the circumstances of what happened, what caused this leak.
And like you said, you don't need much to be a danger.
Not at all. It takes just a little bit.
And so how do hazmat crews, how would they contain it if something were to happen?
Yes, I was reading it can be neutralized. I forget, well, one thing I saw treatment, calcium gluconate gel to neutralize the fluoride ions. So the ways to neutralize it, and that was more a safety thing if you got it on your skin, but it's so quickly going through your skin. It's just so dangerous. So I don't know what they're doing in that industry setting, what they do for spills like that. But I'm kind of glad I saw the follow-up news story where DES is shutting down their operation temporarily because this is a second spill in recent days, and so something's happening, and better to make sure everything is properly done. And I didn't know there was an elementary school. It was an elementary school right next door to the plant. It's like, it's so bad, especially because that stuff is volatile, right? And so it's not just a matter of getting this stuff really is very volatile. So it could spread through the air too, and if you're downwind or, it's just not a good situation to be in.
And environmentally, then, for the environment, How would it affect that?
Yeah, nasty for the environment too. I mean, it's a toxin, a strong, potent toxin. So other animals around, if it got spilled into water, the fish, all the aquatic life, if it went into a nearby creek or river, not good. And if it seeped into groundwater, we have wells, not good either. So it could really damage the environment too, not just us as humans.
And earlier this week, you said that you did read that this is the second incident this week, the first incident, hydrogen peroxide. Would there be a circumstance that they come together? The two react together?
They could. Hydrogen peroxide can be a reducing agent as well as an oxidizing agent, and this hydrofluoric acid is oxidizing. So they could potentially. There was another chemical too, though, beside the hydrogen peroxide, right? Now I'm forgetting what it was.
Hold on, let me see here.
It was a base. It was potassium hydroxide. That's what it was.
Yes, potassium hydroxide. That's what I actually meant to say. Potassium hydroxide.
Right. And
those two reacting.
Those can definitely react. An acid and a base, strong base can react. And it could be a violent reaction. If it's done in a certain way, it can neutralize. It could be a good thing for the hydrofluoric acid. But in general, you need to get that hydrofluoric acid out. But both of those chemicals are dangerous. But I would say the hydrofluoric acid even more so. It has more angles to be dangerous.
All right, so that was Professor Susan Richardson there. Thank you for her time there, explaining these chemicals and the spill and put in context the seriousness of what was happening there in Fort Mill. All right, so let's head now to Capitol Hill. This is a live look at the Senate floor. Debate is underway. Let's take a listen in.
Dictator, Vladimir Putin. So what is it about Trump and Russia? And could it have any connection with Trump's close friendship with the deceased pedophile Jeffrey Epstein? Much about Epstein remains unknown. But the survivors who have come forward and the millions of emails released through the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act have shed some light on the operation of the late financier's global pedophile ring. And over, it touches Russia. When recently asked by a reporter about the Epstein files, Trump said in part, "It's just a Russia hoax." Again, hoax, the word he uses for when something is true. But the most telling part is that Trump's mind, asked about Epstein, immediately went to Russia. Russia. I should start by pointing out that Epstein's ties to foreign intelligence may never be fully known. It's a murky world. He had links to officials in the United States, Russian and Israeli governments, and many others. But it's worth looking at those ties to Russia, a nation so hostile to the United States. Epstein's career began in the mid-1970s at the prestigious Dalton School in New York City, where despite dropping out of college, 21-year-old Jeffrey Epstein was given a position teaching high school mathematics to the children of some of New York's wealthiest families. Perhaps of note, the outgoing headmaster at the time of Epstein's hire was Donald Barr, the father of future Attorney General Bill Barr, and a former intelligence officer during World War II. The elder Barr was known for making unconventional hires at Dalton. After a couple of years, Epstein was able to leverage the elite connections he made at Dalton to a job at Wall Street investment bank Bear Stearns, where he rose quickly through the company. However, after getting caught fabricating his resume, using the company credit card on expensive gifts for his girlfriend, and ultimately providing privileged stock information to a girlfriend, among other unscrupulous behaviors, Epstein called it quits and started his own financial firm. Those early scams were just the start. Shortly thereafter, Epstein fell in with a wealthy man named Douglas Leese, a British defense contractor with connections in the arms industry and the British government. During this period, Epstein would tell people he was a bounty hunter who tracked down hidden money. According to Stephen Hoffenberg, a former business mentor of Epstein's, who went to prison for a massive Ponzi scheme that he later said Epstein had designed, Leese introduced Epstein to Robert Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, who became Epstein's girlfriend and sex trafficking accomplice after her father's death, was Robert Maxwell's favorite daughter, and he involved her deeply in his work. An opportunist in pursuit of wealth, the Czechoslovak-born Robert Maxwell had complex, shifting ties to British, Soviet, and Israeli intelligence. Initially bankrolled by MI6, he accepted secret payments from the KGB through his Soviet-friendly publishing company, and was the rare individual who traversed both sides of the Iron Curtain. In 1992, the British newspaper, the Sunday Express, wrote that a secret document signed by the head of the KGB months before Maxwell's death at sea showed that Maxwell was a political and intelligence asset for the Soviet Union. The newspaper claimed that the document indicated Soviet leadership had instructed the KGB to protect Maxwell's reputation and business activities. Maxwell's UK Foreign Office file, released more than a decade after his death, described him as...
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Colin Mayfield. We have been reporting on Silfab Solar. Obviously, there was just a leak of that hazardous material just a couple of days ago. Let's go to this, as this is a live press conference with an update right now.
Last night, the superintendent and we believe other individuals received a report from a community member that there could have been an incident taking place at Silfab Solar. Possible concerns taking place at this site, 2911. Early this morning at approximately 8:50 a.m., the superintendent contacted York County Emergency Management to determine if any reports had been made and if there was an active issue taking place at the site. We were initially informed that there was no active issue ongoing. The superintendent received a call at 6:53 from York County Emergency Management that there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that they did not believe that this presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm this with absolute certainty until they arrived on site. Therefore, the district made the decision to close Flint Hill Elementary School for the day as a precaution. At the time of the decision, the building was not open to students yet. Staff and parents were immediately notified of the closure, and the district began implementing reunification process for students who had utilized bus transportation that morning. Buses were transported to Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Staff and Flint Hill Elementary, district staff and Flint Hill Elementary staff went to Pleasant Knoll Middle School to assist with the reunification for the students. We began dismissing students to their parents shortly after 9 a.m. this morning. We were able to serve breakfast and lunch to these students as they waited to be dismissed, provided by our student nutrition department. Approximately 300 students were dismissed to their parents safely through our reunification process that took place at Pleasant Knoll Middle School today. At this time, Superintendent Young will share a few remarks, and he will be followed by Board Chair Spears. I apologize. I might have said 8:50 this morning with the first call to York County Emergency Management. It was at 5:50 a.m. this morning. All right, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank our students and parents for their patience and their cooperation this morning. We apologize for the inconvenience and the unease the closure has caused our families and staff. To Principal Michelle Greitz and her amazing administration and staff, I want to thank you for your positive response and your leadership with our students this morning. I would also like to thank our Transportation Department, our School Safety Department, School Nutrition, and the countless members of our district staff that helped with the reunification process. Our district also appreciates the assistance we received from the Fort Mill Police Department, the York County Sheriff's Department, York County Emergency Management, as well as our Board of Trustees members. Interestingly enough, I was in Columbia this morning to testify in support of Representative Martin's bill that is related to this issue. But given these events, I returned to Fort Mill before I had the opportunity to testify. Representative Martin did read my statement. Here are some of the points that I had planned to make at the hearing. In education, our primary responsibility is to ensure a safe and healthy learning environment for every student. We currently have a new elementary school in operation and a middle school opening later this year, both located adjacent to a manufacturing facility that the Board of Zoning Appeals has ruled was improperly zoned. Our district has dedicated significant staff hours and taxpayer resources towards safety initiatives to mitigate related safety concerns. The urgency of this issue was underscored on Tuesday and again this morning, when within weeks of receiving its certificate of occupancy, this facility experienced a chemical spill and a chemical leak on site. Today's events caused the district to close Flint Hill Elementary School as a precautionary measure. These incidents have caused significant concern among our parents and our community and have disrupted our school operations. Based on this, the district is calling for a complete and immediate shutdown of the SILFAB solar facility. We understand that South Carolina Department of Environmental Services has issued a directive to SILFAB Solar to cease all operations by 4 p.m. today. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Chairwoman Spears, who has some additional remarks.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, I want to reiterate our appreciation to all the groups that Superintendent Young mentioned. This has been a true team effort, and our thanks go to the superintendent and his team who have led us through these challenges of the last few days with calm and strong leadership. We know this is a difficult time for the community. Understandably, the emotions and frustrations are very high at this moment, as they are for all of us. We've continued to work with the regulatory agencies that have oversight and authority regarding the safe operation of this plant. It is our responsibility to provide a safe and healthy environment for our students. And in light of these events, it is imperative that the regulatory agencies take swift action to protect our students and our staff. The school board fully supports the directive issued today for this facility to immediately cease all operations. Thank you.
Before I open it up to questions, I would like to mention that a decision regarding at this time, we are continuing to assess the situation as we receive updates. We'll make announcements regarding that as soon as possible. At this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you don't mind, please raise your hand. I will call on you for your question. And keep in mind that the district can only answer questions about district operations. We're not able to answer questions about emergency response, permitting, zoning, or operations of commercial facilities. Yes, sir.
Andrew Dice, the Herald, Rock Hill. Thank you for having me today. I think it's important that you go over again the timeline about when the Fort Mill School District was first told about today's incident, today's spill, leak, call it what you will. We need to know, the public needs to know, when was the school district told about it? When was the decision made to close the school? And why was there any kind of time lapse in between 1 to 2?
Yes, so I'll begin first with when we received the report. It was during the middle of the night. We received the report from
Who is we?
the superintendent, as I said in here. The superintendent received a report from a community member that there may be an issue ongoing at Silfab Solar.
May I interrupt?
Sure.
Did the school district or the superintendent contact law enforcement and say, we have received this message?
No, the superintendent did not send that message on through. As it was said, the individual was advised to send their message to 911, which is the proper authority to report these instances to. The superintendent has absolutely no authority, and the district has absolutely no authority to dispatch anyone, to put anybody in place to handle this situation. That is what 911 is for, and York County Emergency Management is for. Anytime that there is a situation like this, that is who should be reported to. Having said that, that was shared with the member that they should report this to 911. We were not unclear whether that actually happened, which is why we reached out to York County Emergency Management at 5:50 a.m. this morning to see if there were any reports and if in fact those reports were real. During that call, we were told that, I'll read this again, York County Emergency Management informed us that there was no active issue at the site at 5:50 a.m. We continued to make updates and checks and have conversations as a school district. We got the superintendent received an additional call at 6:53 a.m. from York County Emergency Management. At that time, they confirmed there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that it did not believe it presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm that until they arrived on site at Silfab.
It begs the question, who told York County Emergency Management, if they weren't there, that there was a leak this morning?
That would have to be a question for York County Emergency Management. I can't answer that question for you. The school district called to ask if there have been any reports.
They told you, they told you at 6:53 there was a minor leak at the plant.
Absolutely.
Someone had to tell them that.
I think you need to ask them that question, who told them that? Again, we are not the reporting agency. We are dealing with our school sites.
Okay.
They would have to answer the question how they made that determination. Because again, they told us there was not an active incident and then later told us there was. So what happened between that window that they investigated to find out there was would have to be answered by York County Emergency Management.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk through why classes were canceled today and not also on Tuesday when we had that much larger spill? And were there conversations after that of what are we going to do if something like this happens again? Would it be another closure?
Yes, in regards to the Tuesday situation that happened, at that time we were in immediate contact with York County Emergency Management when we learned of the issue. They were very clear at that time. They knew what the spill was, they knew what the contaminant was, and that this did not pose a concern to the community. They were on site at the time of providing that information to us, whereas this time around we were not able to get that concrete confirmation. So that was the reason for allowing the school to continue to operate, because at that time we had clear and concrete information that it was safe to do so at the time. Yes, sir.
Hey, Michael with WTV. We have a stop in operations at Silfab. Does that mean testing will continue at the school, air, ground tests? What
Yes.
does that monitoring look like, and any testing that will continue or stop?
Yes, our commitment that we've done, performed with Citadel EHS is ongoing. The 24-hour continuous air quality monitoring equipment has actually been in place since January and operating. We still have the schedule that we'll be working out for the periodic testing that goes along with that. Actually, we have already be coming on the calendar here very shortly, the next round of that. So we will assess any needs to make any changes there. So yes, that is a continuing project with the district regardless of what takes place at this time.
I'd also ask about the emotional toll. Parents, students have clearly been concerned about this and upset about this. Any plans to provide counselors and what's being done about the
Actually, yes, I can tell you that Principal Greitz and her staff have already put that in place. If students return to school tomorrow, we'll have counseling in place. Even if they don't return to school tomorrow, we will make sure they have options to reach out and talk to somebody. We actually had staff that were working with students today that were having some emotional issues while they were dealing with the situation as being part of reunification. So yes, that is absolutely part of the district's response plan in any emergency situation, to be honest, and will continue as part of this one as well too. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
So the elementary was closed today out of precaution. The construction on the middle school next door was proceeding throughout the day. So I wanted to find out, was there any discussion as far as whether the work that's being done on the middle school should have been suspended for the day?
So the work that's being done there is also being provided by outside contractors. They would make determinations of whether they would pull their staff off. We have not had those conversations with them at this time, so I'd have to check and see what determinations they made. I don't know if they continued working or not working today. We would have to look into that. Yes, ma'am.
Now that you have another middle school coming into the area, this is where a lot of students are going to be in the area. How can you guarantee student safety if more students are going to be coming here and we don't know what the future is going to be if SILFAB continues operations?
Well, I think you heard a very clear statement from our superintendent and from our board chair. We're asking that operations cease at this facility and that it no longer move forward with operations. Hang on, she actually had her hand up first.
Anything you want to say to parents right now who are still shaken up there?
Absolutely. As you heard, both Superintendent and Chairwoman Spears mentioned that obviously we know this has caused concern. We know that this has caused concern before today, but actually having these events happen is going to cause even more concern and unease. And we want to make sure we know that our district and school staff will be there for both our families and our parents, and that at this point, in light of the events that have actually taken place, the district will remain committed to seeing the ceasing of operations at the facility. Yes, sir.
My question is for Representative Martin, if I may, since you're here, Representative Martin.
So,
you have pushed against this for a long time, including the last 3 days. However, the school district and the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services and York County Emergency Management have either given mixed messages or not given accurate information for 3 days. The initial spill was the release number was 1530, and it took you calling them for them to correct it, make it 300. The concern is SILFAB, and I'm asking, SILFAB is providing this information, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How do we know that it's accurate? How does anyone watching this, reading this out there have any idea that what SILFAB is telling York County Emergency Management, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, or the school district is accurate today?
Great question. I don't trust anything SILFAB says at this point. They've had every opportunity to do the right thing in this community for over 2 years. I have been advocating for a full stoppage at that facility, and they move elsewhere. When they got the order from SCDES that they could no longer what they called commission equipment, meaning that you're testing equipment to get it ready for some type of production, which DES says is 6 months from now. They had the opportunity to stop that. And then it is clear that this morning there was some other type of leak that occurred with hydrofluoric acid, from what I understand. So I don't really trust what I'm being told from SILFAB. I have not actually heard verification that it was 1530 or 300. Nobody has came to me and said this is the exact number. And that's exactly why SCDES has been investigating them over the last few days to find out exactly what the truth is, and that's what needs to happen. And that's why I called SCDES, Myra Reese. I've been on the phone with her since 6:45 this morning. I don't know, as soon as I found out that something was going on. I have been on the phone nonstop with her along with Senator Johnson to ask for transparency, accountability, and that everybody in Fort Mill and across our state understands what happened and ultimately who's going to be responsible for that. And so until they finish their investigation and until the EPA finishes their investigation, which they're starting on Wednesday of what I've been told of next week, once that happens, I can't wait to find out what the truth actually is at this point. But if SILFAB's saying it right now, I absolutely am not believing it.
And as a follow-up, I'm not sure if other people, I don't want to take up all the time, but for you, the school district, or anyone else, when people, and I'm a Fort Mill parent, I put 3 children through this school district, why should they put their child on a school bus tomorrow morning when the information that they're receiving is coming initially from SILFAB, which by all accounts has the spill. It's coming either through 1, 2, or 3 filters until it gets to the public and these parents to make decisions about their children.
Again, a great question. You know me, Andrew. I've known you for a long time. I have a daughter in Fort Mill schools. I'm a product of Fort Mill schools. It's sad that I have to stand here today. It's sad that any of these people behind me have to stand here today and speak up about this, what I believe is an atrocity that should never have happened here in a great school district and a great community. Our parents should feel confident that when they send our kids to school, they're safe. All they need to focus on is being able to study. And unfortunately, this company has came in and has not done things the correct way and has caused a disruption in that on a daily basis. I fully trust every single thing these people behind me tell me. Unlike the information that you just asked me about, I trust everything that Gray Young and these people behind me tell me. I've known this man for 20 years, 20 plus years actually. And if they're giving me information, I absolutely trust what they tell me. If they feel comfortable to open up the school tomorrow, I would feel comfortable with that as a parent, in my opinion. I'm excited to see what happens at 4 o'clock today. Either SilFab has the opportunity to do the right thing and be a good neighbor in this community, or it's clear that they have no intentions of being a good neighbor in this community. And if they do not want to be a good neighbor and they do not want to comply with our highest agency that regulates them, they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. I have contacted the Attorney General's office. They are looking at every legal parameter here that can be taken, and that would be my next step of what I intend to do, is contact the AG and work with them.
One more question?
Absolutely. Yep.
It dovetails into what you just said. You're a state representative, but anyone can call 911. Anyone can call the law at any time. Has anyone asked the Sheriff's Office or SLED to open up a criminal investigation into what has happened the last 3 days?
I will tell you, I have personally been in contact with our sheriff, Sheriff Breeden. I have personally been in contact with the Attorney General's office. I would like to see a full investigation done for everything, right? I want to know what happened at this facility. I want to know how this happened. I want to know who was responsible, whether that's just on to confirm through DES that operationally things were done, or whether there's any type of other cover-up or criminal action that's happened at that location. I expect full transparency and accountability from anybody involved, and that's what I seek to find.
Can I say something?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Andrew, I appreciate the question. I think it's important to understand that when this call came in very late last night, we cannot, as a school district, get in the practice of calling 911 for an outside facility. If they have information that there is something going on in that facility, they need to call 911, and that was the advisement that they received. They called more than just me. They called other people. They received. You
advise that member of the public, call 911, let people do their job.
Correct. And when 911 is called to a facility like that, York County Emergency Management is notified. Then we usually are notified by York County Emergency Management. So when at 5:50 this morning, I sent a text to York County Emergency Management asking for information. That information at first was there is no active spill. Then once calls were made, I was called at 6:53 a.m. And that's when we started talking about making the decision to cancel schools. We decided at 7:02 a.m. to cancel schools. At 7:05, students would be getting out of their cars and getting off those buses. So the timeline was very quick. And we did not feel comfortable with the information that we had at the time to allow Flint Hill Elementary School to have school today. So that's why we made that decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, unless there are any other pressing questions for the school district as far as our operations go, I think we're going to end our press conference here. If you do have additional questions for the school district, feel free to send those to me. If you have additional questions, obviously, I assume for some of our other representatives in the room here today, you can certainly reach out to them. We appreciate you coming here today, and thank you very much for your time.
Before you go, you said at 4 o'clock, SilFab is going to make their decision. I think since you've got all of us here, when should we expect the school district to make a decision on schools tomorrow?
As I said earlier, as soon as we have that decision, it will be made.
Are you going to send it out?
Yes, we will notify all of our...
Seems like we lost our shot, but some very interesting revelations from this. You heard the district calling on regulators to get involved to issue a total stop to SilFab Solar. This is a huge story, and this is not just the first spill that we have reported on. This is the second one. So some interesting things that have come out from this today. We're going to take a 2-minute break and come right back. And just like that, we are back. We have Senator Doug Burgum, former Senator Doug Burgum, and Governor as well. He's the U.S. Secretary of the Interior for the Trump administration, talking about Iran. Let's listen in right now.
Whether it's in Central Africa, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in the States. And one of the discussions we had with the leadership today was let's work together to make sure that those companies that are coming to invest are the kinds of companies that you would want to have as a great corporate citizen. Many of the oil and gas companies were here have worked in my home state where I was governor for 8 years, and they're the best corporate citizens.
But there's no guerrillas controlling the mines there, or child labor, or environmental degradation. How is that cleanup going to take place, and what role will the U.S. and the Ministry of the Interior under Cabello play in that transition process?
Well, I think the presence of the security concerns that you described was a function of the economic environment. But with the new mining law, just like the new hydrocarbon law, that's going to create the opportunity for organized companies that can come in and create great high-paying jobs, take care of the environment, just like these companies do in the rest of the world. And I think that economic force is even more important than a military force in driving a transition because it's going to be felt by the people that live in those regions as well.
Any comments on Cabello, quickly? Just on Cabello, any comments at all?
We're CNN. Okay. We're CNN.
Right here.
Okay, there you go. Hi there.
Hi there. The government of Delcy Rodriguez has made some compromises in the security area, how they will handle, for example, the gangs that are working right now in that mining area.
Well, it's a little bit of the same question. I mean, I think that that activity filled an empty vacuum. It went in and it created an economic opportunity where there was none. But I think that if you have a superior economic opportunity, both for the team members, the communities, the country, everybody involved, I think you're going to see this government very concerned about, providing the right kind of security. We heard assurances in the meeting today and yesterday that if companies wanted to get to these areas, do due diligence, think about reopening mines, maybe even getting back to mines that they themselves were running 15 or 20 years ago, that this government would ensure their security. So I'm feeling very optimistic about an environment where investment is going to flow, not just to offshore oil and gas, not just to Caracas, but actually to the interior where these enormous resources exist.
Mr. Bloomberg, what is your message to Venezuelans and Venezuela and Delcy Rodriguez about the power of U.S. dollars to create durable change, about investment as a tool for diplomacy and reform?
Well, I would say anything that I wanted to say to Delcy, I've already said the last 2 days because she's been so generous with her time, spending time with meetings with the two delegations, with dinner last night with her and her brother. But I would say that currency was one of the topics that we talked about, and it's an important one. The steps that are being taken to increase the flow of capital back into Venezuela certainly is going to help stabilize the currency. It was interesting. We had one of the leaders of, one of the co-founders of Coinbase here, who's helped create the whole cyber currency era, and we know that a lot of Venezuelans that are on the ground, on the front lines working this country are protecting their own Venezuelan dollars by transferring them over to a stable coin and then transferring back when they need to spend them. So the people of Venezuela have been resourceful in trying to protect their own resources from the hyperinflation that's occurred. But I think the faster that we can move on normalizing relations, the faster you're going to see the gap between the official and the unofficial currency rate close. And we of course know you walk into a grocery store in this country, you're going to see items priced in the dollar. There is an effect of dollarization already happening. It doesn't have to be an official policy, but anything that we can do to help create a stable currency where the citizens are not impacted by the negative impacts of hyperinflation would be very positive. And of course, again, at the high level, getting capital investment flowing in this country will help. The bank reserves at 70% are among the highest in the world. That's choking off consumer credit. There's a big opportunity here for, again, for the average citizen to have more access to credit, less hyperinflation, greater jobs, and they'll see the benefits. Because, of course, when when the oil starts flowing, those revenues, a big chunk of those going back to the government to provide services for the people of this country. So, and we're today, we had positive for Chevron, who's been operating here, announced this morning in our meeting that they had record production. Yesterday was their all-time record production, and they know they can go even higher than that going forward. So whatever goals that were set for 2026 for oil and gas production, I'm positive that Venezuela is actually going to exceed those.
Hi. Yeah, does the U.S. plan to lift all U.S. sanctions on Venezuelan oil? If so, when? And what would that mean for U.S. investigations into wrongdoing?
The process right now, the question was about sanctions. The process right now is to clear the path for capital investment through issuing licenses. There was 4 general licenses that were issued that opened up broad swaths of the oil and gas industry. Stay tuned and expect to see a similar set of general licenses for the mining industry, and that would include people that want to invest in mines, people that want to ship mining equipment, people that want new technology to come here. We want to open the door for those to come back in, and the fastest path that we can do right now is through the licensing process, and the first of those took several weeks to get out. The next wave, took a week. The next wave, they maybe take 2 or 3 days because we've got a template that we can follow. We told all the companies that we met with the last 2 days if they were having any issues with getting material or people through visas or capital into the country, talk to us because we want to help those that want to come here to do constructive work with high integrity. We want to clear the path for them to get here and start working.
Let's wrap it up with Wall Street Journal.
I was actually going to ask about the gold sanctions as well. Since you already asked that, did you talk about democratization at all in your dinner with Delcy Rodriguez and Dr. Rodriguez?
Well, we certainly talked about a positive future for this country, and there's a number of things that are happening again under the current leadership that are very positive for everybody in this country, and I think you're seeing that in the laws that are being passed. They're again creating a framework that is going to be more peace, more stability, and more prosperity for the people of Venezuela. So right now we're very pleased in the direction that this country is going, and the United States is very happy to be a supportive partner in this progress. And again, for those folks back home, understand when Venezuela, which is just hours away from the United States, it's a 4-day ride for a tanker ship of Venezuelan oil to get to America. It's sometimes 40 days to get to Asia. There's such an opportunity. People are concerned about oil and gas prices in America. Venezuela, with the resources they have, absolutely huge win for Venezuela, huge win for America. We also know that one of the highest strategic national security threats to any democratic nation right now is China's control of critical minerals. So as we saw at the ministerial that was held at the State Department with Marco Rubio a few weeks ago, 51 countries coming to Washington, D.C. wanting to sign agreements where nations could trade freely with the price floor around critical minerals. The resources that are here around not precious metals like gold, but critical minerals in this country, and minerals that we need like bauxite for aluminum, for defense and for advanced manufacturing and for your laptop. And if people don't understand critical minerals, just understand that every phone and every camera that you're pointing at me right now has got rare earth minerals in it. Sometimes an iPhone, as many as 42 of the top 60 might be included in that device. So it's not just for defense and for computers. It is everybody needs to have a secure supply of these to keep the global economy going. The United States is committed to leading in that area. And again, Venezuela, as a trusted ally and partner of the United States, that's the future vision, could play a huge role in that. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here.
All right, Doug Burgum speaking quite extensively there with reporters and taking a lot of questions. Now going back to the federally funded jet that America provides. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll come back right after this. We're back here on WCNC Plus, guys. Going to go to a weather impact update with Majestic Storm right now.
What a gorgeous Thursday we have really all across the Carolinas. Sunny skies, and it doesn't just look nice, but those temperatures feel incredible. Temperatures today will be climbing back into the upper 70s, even warmer by tomorrow. Possible record warmth as we're heading into our Friday. Temperatures, can you believe it? They'll be over 80 degrees multiple times, but as you're heading into this weekend, I know you're probably making some outdoor plans, at least hope you are. It's going to be fantastic. You'll also have to keep your eyes on the sky because we do have some small chances of rain showers and even a few isolated thunderstorms as well. Now, throughout the rest of the day today, it's all about the sunny skies, the warm temperatures. You will feel a little bit of a breeze at times because those winds are moving in from the southwest, gusting anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour. That is what helps to usher in the warmer air, and then overall our temperatures really respond nicely to that. Upper 70s today, low 80s by tomorrow, and then heading into the weekend, small dip in temperatures on Sunday, but really not too much. And if you're wondering, is this the norm? It's really not, actually pretty far from it. We should be at 61 degrees for this time of the year, but we'll be well above that for several days. Now, next week, we will see a big drop in temperatures, especially between Wednesday into Friday. You can see that big drop there, and it's not just cooler air, but possibly another round of more impactful rain. No rain to worry about today. It's going to be a gorgeous Thursday. Satellite and radar really indicating we don't have any issues. This is a big weather story across the country. It's really some thunderstorm activity that we had this morning, even some flash flood warnings that have been issued across the Ohio Valley by the National Weather Service. It's officially severe weather season, and the Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting several states across the country that'll be impacted by severe weather today. Look at this. This is Friday, a high risk for severe storms for a large majority of the central half of the country. And then once we head into Saturday, this is a little bit concerning because we do have a widespread risk, but that does include parts of our viewing area. Now, I will say this is a low-end risk, and it does not include Charlotte, but mainly areas northwest of us. What that simply means is that if we have an isolated thunderstorm that does develop, it may have the ability to quickly turn strong to severe. It's important that if you're going to be out and about this weekend, maybe you're heading out to the golf course, maybe you're heading out to go fishing on the lake, watch the sky because those storms can be very, very sneaky. Our overall rain chances over the next several days, they're going to be pretty low. Looks like next week we could have a better wet weather maker, and we'll be watching that especially by the middle to end of the week. Futurecast, if you have any plans for your Thursday, it's going to be nice. One of those days as those kids are coming home from school, send them out to that side to play, or maybe head out to the park today. I mean, temperatures even right around dinner time will be into the upper 60s to low 70-degree temperatures, so it could even be a really nice evening to sit outside. And don't forget, we're getting close to the weekend and it's daylight saving time. We'll have to flip our clocks forward an hour this weekend. That means our new sunrise will be at 7:43, our new sunset almost at 7:30 as we're heading into next week. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast looks like this. It does not look very March-like, I'll tell you that. It actually looks more May-like. Upper 70s today, low 80s tomorrow. If you're heading out to the Charlotte FC game on Saturday, that should be a lot of fun, a warm one though. And then again, we're going to be watching that system Saturday and into Sunday. Overall, small impacts, but those impacts are still lingering. Next week, we're bringing the heat again with mid-80s returning on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hope you have a great day.
All right, folks, looking forward to the 80s. However, I don't know, 85 in the middle or close to the middle of March. I don't know if that's beckoning even hotter temperatures earlier than normal. Well, I guess we'll have to see. We'll see you back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to go to Governor Abbott joining the NASDAQ right now for a closing bell ceremony at the 190th anniversary of the Battle of the Alamo down in San Antonio. Let's go to this historic closing right now.
And with his banners a-dancing in the dawn's golden light, Santa Anna came prancing on a horse that was black as the night. He sent us, Sir to tell a message to surrender. And Travis answered with a shell and a rousing rebel yell. Santa Anna turned scarlet, played a glalo, he roared. I will show them no quarter, everyone will be put to the sword. 185 holding back 5,000, 5 days, 8 days, 6 days, 10. Travis held and held again, and he sent for replacements, but the wounded and lame. They never came, they never came. Twice he charged and blew recall, but on that fatal third time, Santa Anna breached the wall and killed them one and all. Now the bugles are silent, and there's rust on each sword, and a small band of soldiers lies asleep in the arms of the Lord. In the southern part of Texas, in the town of San Antonio, there's a statue of a cowboy as he rides there all alone. And he sees the cattle grazing where a country before Santa Anna's guns were firing and the cannons used to roar. And his eyes turn sort of misty, and his heart becomes aglow for those 13 days of glory at the siege of the Alamo. This is hallowed ground we stand on. We have fought in this state for liberty and independence. And that's the reason people have moved here from all over the country and all over the world. We've added 11 million people to Texas just in the last 18 years. Businesses coming here from every part. Why? Because this is the America that all America used to be. We're proud to have NASDAQ here today. We're proud to ring the bell. And we're proud that they did it here at the site of the Alamo. Thank you. God bless Texas. God bless America.
Thank you so much.
And now it is my great honor to introduce the governor of the great state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott. Will he need? Okay.
Well, thank you to Rachel. Listen, after the Battle of the Alamo, Texas went on to become our own country, then a United States member, and now the premier economy in the country, one of the premier economies in the entire world. Earlier this week on the Texas Capitol grounds, I received the Governor's Cup. The Governor's Cup goes to the governor of the state that ranks #1 in America for the most new economic development projects and the most new jobs created. Texas has added more new jobs than any state in the country over the past year, since the time of COVID, and since I was first elected to be governor of Texas. Texas also ranks #1 for economic development. We rank #1 for the most business headquarter relocations to any state in America. #1 is the best business climate in the United States. Texas now ranks #1 for having more employees working in the financial sector than any other state in the entire country. And Texas ranks #1 for capital investment, #1 for capitalism itself, and hence it is only right that Texas rank #1 for the capital markets that drive capitalism and the entire economic system. We are so proud that NASDAQ is a part of that process. We are proud that NASDAQ does business and has a location in the great state of Texas, ensuring that Texas is the pathway forward for finance, for capitalism, and Texas will lead the way in protecting capitalism and all that it can achieve in the United States of America. Thank you all. God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas.
All right, I'm fired up. I have another honor. It is now my honor to introduce a leader who reflects NASDAQ's commitment to innovation, growth, and partnership in Texas. Under her leadership, NASDAQ has made it clear that Texas is not just part of our strategy, it is central to it. NASDAQ is here because we believe the independent spirit of this state deserves direct access to global capital and global opportunity. So please join me in welcoming NASDAQ Chairman and CEO, Adina Friedman.
Thanks, Rachel. All right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What an exciting day it is to be here in the historic Alamo. Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Patrick, as well as Mayor Ortiz-Jones, I want to thank you and all of our special guests for joining us for this important milestone. Today, from a place that symbolizes courage, resilience, and endurance, we are thrilled to celebrate the official launch of NASDAQ Texas. Woo! From its inception, Texas has represented what it means to be bold, to take risks, to build, and to lead. That same spirit is part of NASDAQ's DNA. We were founded to challenge convention, modernize markets, and expand access to capital for the innovators who shape the future. There is no better place to deepen that mission than right here at the Alamo in Texas. Texas stands as a powerful example of what happens when public and private sectors work together. It fosters a business environment that rewards entrepreneurship, attracts capital investment, and strengthens communities. From energy to technology, from life sciences to advanced manufacturing, the people and companies of this state have driven not just local growth, but American progress. And that is why today it is also a celebration of our partners in Texas, many of whom are here with us today. Our community represents the entrepreneurs who have dreamed big, the workers who have built industries, and the public officials who created the growth-oriented policies, along with the families and communities behind all of it. With that, I really want to please join me in welcoming up to the podium the first cohort of the ambitious companies leading the way and dual listing on NASDAQ Texas. J.B. Hunt Transportation Services, Huntington Bank Shares, Firefly Aerospace, Construction Partners, ProFrac Services, APA Corporation, APA Corporation, and I'm proud to say that NASDAQ will also be dual listed on NASDAQ Texas. Thank you all for being here and for supporting NASDAQ Texas. And now, let me introduce our first of the CEO guests who will join me on stage, and she'll come and say a few words. They are here shaping the future. They're joining NASDAQ Texas, and I want to thank them all for being here and joining me. So, Shelley, you want to come first? That would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I'm Shelley Simpson, CEO of J.B. Hunt. And maybe when you think of J.B. Hunt, you've seen our trucks on the road or even our containers on the train, and you think we move a lot of freight, and we do. But we're also a catalyst for growth for our customers. You see, we connect our customers all across the country, and right here in Texas, you really are the convergent for all of our transportation network. As the largest intermodal domestic supplier in North America, we really connect what's happening here in Texas to every part of the country. You know, when that's good for us, and when our customers grow, we have to grow too. And we believe that NASDAQ Texas is primed and ready to support economic growth and really advance our infrastructure moving forward. And that means for us, we invest. And we invest in our people, our technology, and our capacity. With over 3,000 employees based here in Texas, serving 1,800 different customer locations, we know what it feels like and looks like to do business in Texas. As our founder, Mr. Hunt, used to say, he would walk the halls in our terminals and say, is today going to be a good day? Is it going to be big? And I would tell you, today is a big day, not only for Texas, but also for J.B. Hunt and for all commerce moving forward.
Thank you, absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm Steve Steinauer. I'm the CEO at Huntington Bank. In the past year, we've invested over $8.5 billion to combine with two great companies here in Texas, Veritex Bank in Dallas, led by Malcolm Holland, and Dan Rollins, who's here, who is the CEO of Cadence Bank. And so we are here in a big way. We're thrilled to be here, and we're going to continue to invest, Governor, and appreciate the fact that you move at the speed of business. Our forebears go back to the founding of the country, not Texas, but the country, including Samuel Huntington, who signed the Declaration of Independence and put his life at risk here. And so I'm in this hollow ground that we're at today. It reminds me of the legacy of the family that founded Huntington and the importance of being true to the spirit of independence and entrepreneurialism and innovation, and that resides nowhere in the States better than here in Texas. Great to be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Adina. Thank you. I'm Jason Kim. I'm the CEO of Firefly Aerospace, and I'm just really honored and excited to be here to support Adina and NASDAQ as they've landed in Texas, the great state of Texas, Governor. Firefly Aerospace, we are a space and defense company that delivers rockets, satellites, lunar landers, and ground systems for the hardest missions in space, such as national security, space exploration, and commercial tech, all to keep America first in space. A few days ago, we celebrated our 1-year land anniversary. We were the first company that landed as a commercial company on the moon. And so we like to say dream big because you never know where you'll land. We landed on the moon. And we're not done there because we just acquired our subsidiary SciTech, who does AI, big data processing on data servers. And as we expand on our moon missions and do more rockets and bigger rockets, we're also going to expand in terms of space-based data center work and really connect everything in space so we can get users' information in real time. And so we're excited to expand in Texas. It is a great state. There's the Texas Space Commission. Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, for standing that up. We've benefited from that, and we're expanding our clean room to do more lunar landers, more rockets, bigger rockets, more data processing, and we're just here to make space more fly. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I am Ned Fleming. I'm the Executive Chairman of Construction Partners, Inc. And those of you that were on a road, we might have built it as you came here. So we are here to build the infrastructure of Texas on behalf of all 7,000 plus employees that we have, many of which reside in the great state of Texas. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor for creating a state that allows business to happen, that helps innovation to happen. We couldn't do it without you guys and the hard work you do, so we really appreciate it. And I also want to thank Adina and NASDAQ for bringing this to Texas, for bringing the innovation and the technology that allows us to access the capital markets throughout the world through NASDAQ. So thank you, Adina. We really appreciate it. And I would say get welcome because you're now in the great state of Texas. So welcome to the Lone Star State. We hope you're here a lot. Thank you very much. Take care.
Definitely, thank you. My name is Matt Wilkes. I'm the Executive Chairman of ProFrac Services. It's just an incredible privilege to be here, especially excited that the NASDAQ is coming here to Texas. This is the greatest state in the country, and it's an energy hub, and it's just, I was born and raised here. My family's here. My family has always, I don't know how long they've been here. I think for a really long time. But it's just awesome to see this coming here. This is going to be an amazing start for the finance markets, and to see the capital markets come to Texas, it's just amazing. This is the great state of Texas. So, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Okay. APA is a global E&P company. Our foundation is in the Permian Basin, right here in the great state of Texas. We're exploring globally. We've got a project out in Suriname. We're also exploring in the United States and Alaska. We are honored to be one of the first companies here dual listing on the NASDAQ. It's a great thing for the state, and God bless you.
All right, folks, that's our time. By the way, tonight at 9, 7:04 Unfiltered with Nick Sturdivant. We're going to pass you to the 4 o'clock show on WCNC Charlotte. We'll see you tonight.